This is always ready, Matt Cardona, the internet champion and the host of the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast. But there's another podcast I want you to check out, and that is the Crash and Burn Podcast. Check it out every single episode. Make sure you subscribe, comment, like, do all that fun stuff, and you never know. Maybe one day you'll see the Crash and Burn Podcast take on the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast in the middle of the ring. And you know who's going to win? Me. Because you guys, you're not always ready. Crash and Burn!
Welcome back, ladies and gents. We are back with another episode of the Crash and Burn Wrestling Podcast. We are getting ready to do something we haven't done in like months, in the gathering months, and we have someone even on here who hasn't been on here for months. And look at, he's here. All right, so today we're going to be doing something we all enjoy doing, and that is our fantasy booking. I got bored. I had nothing to do. We had nothing planned to do. The year's about to end, so why not do one more fantasy booking, even though we haven't done it for such a long ass time. So I got here. I'm booking Monday Night Raw as I usually do because that's the strongest promotion I can book. But we got my friends here who are booking a bunch of shithead promotions. But I'm going to get down the roll call here. I'm about to lose my voice because I'm signing people throughout this entire hour. So I'm going to get down the roll call here, making his return. This guy, Nicholas Isaac.
Hey, well, I'm back, y'all. I'm back, and I've got COVID. So, great return, right? Yeah, so... Yeah, the last time you saw me, I was this healthy kid, and now I'm in quarantine. But you know what? At least I'm back. It's been a rough few weeks. All right, Wyatt's back with something here, but yeah, it's not under the most comforting of circumstances. But you know what? I'm still back, and I'm back doing what I love doing. It's been a while since we've done this. I barely remember what I did last time, so this is gonna be quite the challenge to book New Japan. But I'm gonna try my best here, and most importantly of all, I'm going to try and fuck over everybody else. So yeah, let's do this, y'all.
Next up, we're going to get ready for the guy who's repeatedly signing people. The guy with the gray sweatshirt.
Go ahead, AJ.
Oh, me? Alright. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Crash and Fucking Burn Wrestling Podcast. And today we're going to be doing some fantasy booking, which I will be in charge of AEW this year. Sorry, Jason, I took over your job from last year. Ha ha. But anyway, I really hope I hope I win this roster. Let us know who has the better roster in the comments.
Yeah. Next up, we are going to introduce here the guy who was on the first ever fantasy booking and making a second appearance. The guy with the pair of earbuds on.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Crash and Burn Wrestling Podcast Fantasy Booking Edition. It is your favorite assassin, the Assassin Josh Digger here, and we're going to be doing some fantasy booking. I got a awesome Impact fantasy roster up my sleeve, and I cannot wait to share it with you guys and tell me what you guys think, as well as the other guys here in this episode. So yeah, let's get down to this. Shall we?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it, man.
Next up, the final participant. His ass has been quiet ever since we were this. That is the guy with the Undertaker shirt, Jason Bale.
Hello, welcome to Crash and Burn. We're back with some fantasy booking episodes. I'm doing Friday Night SmackDown. I signed some good talent. I signed a video game character and a couple podcast people, current and former. So yeah, let's have a good episode here.
Now let's get down to
and Josh's TV's up loud.
A little bit because I can't really hear.
Get out of here.
Burn it down. That's why I keep muting you.
Yeah. You gotta mute him or something. Because we can't really hear. All right.
Yeah.
Next, okay, what we're gonna be discussing right now is what show what promotion we're doing, and who our general managers are in our commentary. So for me, I'm doing Monday Night Raw, and for my commentary, I got Jerry Lawler, MTV, and Corey Graves, and for my general managers, it's me and AJ. So,
Thanks for that.
and then let's give it down to Jason. What promotion are you doing, and what's your commentary and general managers?
So, my GMs, I'm gonna be replacing Adam Pearce since he's fired, and I'll be working with Sonya Deville as the officials. My
Damn.
commentary teams, I'll keep it as Cole and Pat. And yeah, I'm doing Friday Night SmackDown.
You're a lucky bastard.
Ring announcer, I'll keep Mike Rome. The interview, I'll have Kayla Braxton.
Okay. God.
So my promotion, I'm doing Impact Wrestling. Honestly, this is my commentary team is going to be Matt Stryker, the guy who says holy shit about a million times. D'Lo Brown, the current Impact team, as well as Vampiro. I've always loved Vampiro. I mean, I put Vampiro in because Matt Stryker and him were the commentary team for the not so best promotion, Lucha Underground, which sadly does not exist. That's why I assigned Vampiro to the Impact roster. And as well as for my champions and people that I've signed a bunch of indie talent that will be good because Impact's signing a lot of indie talent lately, and I want to add some people that will get a shot. So here are some of my champions. So I have all the titles.
We're not getting into that yet. We're just doing commentary and general managers.
Oh, I have the general manager. My general managers are myself and the wife of Josh Alexander, Jade Chung.
Whoa! Okay.
We're going with the guy who always books New Japan. Guys.
Yeah. So I got a very interesting commentary team here. It hasn't really changed much apart from cannot keep a job Matt Stryker going with Impact. Curse you, traitor. I'm sticking with Jim Cornette and Josh Barnett. They're both going to stay on commentary. And newest addition, proud to welcome him, the Iron Sheik. Dear God, we are going to get taken off of television very quickly.
Fuck you, Hogan.
Fucking you, Hogan. You racist piece of shit.
That is literally how we're going to open up Wrestle Kingdom Night 1. He's going to be dragged off by security, never to be seen again. We don't have a general manager. I mean, I guess you could just say Antonio Inoki is really the head figure there. We got backstage people. We got Calvin Kelly. Andre the Giant is back at it again for him doing that thing. And as well as that, we've also got Oksana, because why not?
I mean, for backstage for me is pretty much Ace Austin's girlfriend, Gia Miller. She's the current backstage interviewer for Impact, so I'm going to keep her on board with the roster and everything.
Yeah. By the way, Nick, your background's blurred, by the way.
That's intentional. So, yeah. Okay.
All right.
As for trainers, I don't know if anybody else did this, but I have. Basically, it's I got Kurt Angle, I got Shane Douglas. I also have Antonio Inoki again, Great Muda, and Kenta Kobashi. They're all trainers because they're all.
For my coaches and trainers, this is a pretty actually surprising one. I have the Dudley Boys.
Ooh!
Get the table!
Get the table.
The Dudleys is one of them, as well as I thought of this one because this guy used to be an Impact years ago. I'm actually going to have the 187 Homicide.
Ooh, interesting.
So wait, what are we discussing here?
Trainers.
Oh, trainers.
And coachers.
Let's see.
And of course, Shannon Moore.
There you go.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
Anybody want to talk?
I
Okay.
do.
Last but
All
not
right.
least, AJ, tell them what promotion, commentary, and general managers.
All right. My promotion, first of all, is AEW, like I said before, and my commentary team is the same: JR, Excalibur, and Tony Schiavone.
Yes, my boys.
And then the ring announcer, sorry, Jason, Justin Roberts, and Dasha Fuentes. Because I'm going to do Dynamite for Justin Roberts and then Dasha Fuentes for Rampage.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting.
Instead of having him do both.
And then the trainers or producers, whatever, it's probably the main guys will be oh yeah, it will be like BJ Whitmer, and Jerry Lee and the last stuff, Dean Malenko. Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay. Now we are going to get to our champions.
Okay.
For Monday Night Raw for me. For the WWE, for my WWE champion will be the Rated R Superstar Edge. United States champion, I'm going to put it on. I'm gonna put it on the Miz.
Ooh.
Cool.
For my tag team champions are Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz, and my women's champion is Liv Morgan.
Damn
Of
right.
course.
Interesting.
Of course.
Very nice.
And now, champions, let's go with Nick.
All right. So like last time, I've made a few changes because some people are no longer with my company. But most of it's the same. Samoa Joe is still the heavyweight champion. Obviously, Intercontinental title no longer exists, so that's not going to be used. The U.S. champion is Sonata. The unified tag team champions are Hirooki Godot and Tomohiro Ishii. IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship is actually going to be vacated because I decided I wanted to do a tournament type thing here because, I love tournaments. So the Wrestle Kingdom 18 is going to be crowning that. Never Openweight champion, still Zack Saber Jr. I'm keeping the belt on him forever. 6-man titles are also vacant. Those are going to be determined. The King of Pro Wrestling is still going to be Israel Adesanya because I freaking love long-term booking. And since I signed the guy, and technically he is doing this in real life, I decided I might as well do it as well. ROH champion is Jonathan Gresham, since he's still defending the title, so I might as well take advantage of that.
All right, Jason.
Champions. So I'll explain how these people won the titles and when we get the storylines later. But
Put your current champions.
Oh, current ones.
Yeah.
Well, they're gonna stay the same. The Usos still the SmackDown tag team titles. Roman Reigns still the Universal Championship. Shinsuke the Intercontinental Champion.
Mm-hmm.
And Charlotte, SmackDown Women's Champion.
All right. AJ.
My starting champions are gonna be for the World Championship will obviously be Hangman still. The TNT title will still be Sammy Guevara. The women's title will be Britt Baker still. And the tag team championships are for the Lucha Bros still. But however, for the TNT title, Ricky Starks is losing that title. I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of this reign. I would rather send Hook to win the TNT title. Come on, man. Give that man some.
Send Hook.
Send Hook.
Send Hook.
Send that.
Send Hook. Send Hook.
Send Hook. All right.
Let's see. Josh.
All right, so these are my champions for the Impact. Now I have all the titles that they currently have. I know they added just one new title, but I made some couple changes with this. And I'll get later into the episode why I chose these guys as my champions. So for my Impact World Championship, I chose Matt Cardona to hold the title because I'll get into that later why I chose Matt Cardona. So for the Impact Digital Media Championship, which is their most newest title, I chose one of my favorite indie wrestlers currently who just signed a contract with Impact, actually, Lady Frost. So the Impact X Division Championship, I gave it to the most professional wrestler, Brian Myers. For the Knockouts Championship, I gotta show Matt Cardona's fiance some love. I gave it to the hot mess herself, Chelsea Green. And for the tag team titles, they stayed the same. The Good Brothers, Doc Gallows, and the Machine Gun Carl Anderson. And as the Impact Knockouts tag team titles stay the same with Jessie McKay and Cassie Lee, The Inspiration. And yeah, those are my champions because, the reason I gave Matt Cardona the title because he's evolved so much since his WWE release, and I wanted to see how he would do as a world champion, so I gave it to that. Lady Frost, she's very great in the ring. She has great athleticism, and she's very new to the roster, so I was like, might as well put a title on her based on her performance. The reason I gave Brian Myers the X Division title is because I think his time will come for the world title. So have him started up with the X Division title, and then maybe he can win the tag titles with somebody, and then work his way up to the world title. Chelsea Green, I chose her because she's never won a title before, and I want to see how she would feel and how her reign would go. Me being a general manager and part-time performer on Impact, the Good Brothers, I kept them because they're great. They've won the titles. They won the titles so much, but they're a great tag team. And the Inspiration because they didn't get a lot of time in WWE as champions, and outside of the company, they really did really well for their first run in Impact. So that's why I still have them as the tag champs. So those are my champions for Impact in my book.
All right, now we're going to get ready to go to the releases.
Yeah.
For me, my releases are Akira Tozawa, Doudrop, The Street Profits, T-Bar, Nikki ASH, Tamina, and it's this. Random calls and offers. This way, guys. Guys, we are having
we gotta let it play through. We gotta get to the bit.
last release.
Oh no!
That's a good release. Good release. Good release.
Bye, Becky.
Bye, Becky.
All right. Now for releases, Jason.
Talking about the releases I see.
Yeah.
I am going to release Mace, Drew Gulak, Angel Garza, and I'm going to strip Charlotte Flair from the SmackDown Women's Championship, so she's out.
Wow.
I'm going to release Sasha Banks, and I am going to release Adam Pearce, and I'll take his spot as WWE official.
Nice.
That's
Very
tough,
nice.
dude.
All right. Nicholas.
I don't actually think I had any releases, shockingly.
Yeah.
Besides everybody that either got signed or I just chose not to sign again from last time, my roster basically remains the same. So yeah, I guess pretty uneventful. Sorry that I don't have the giant releases of yesteryear, but yeah, I guess I'm kind of satisfied with what I've got right now.
AJ.
So for the releases for me, it's not too much, but I did release a few people that I don't really need for AEW. So I'll tell you who. Give me a second here. So I released Brandon Cutler. I released give me a second. Fuego del Sol. I also released Lee Johnson, Lee Marty, and Nick Caramato, Aaron Solo, QT Marshall, Paul White, Satnam Singh, Serpentico, Sean Dean, Sonny Kiss, and for the female wrestlers, Abaddon, Brandy Rhodes, Ema Sakura, Jamie Hayter, Kira Hogan, Leva Beth, Layla Hirsch, Rebel, Red Velvet, Serena Deeb, and Yuta Sakasaki. Those are all my AEW releases, and I signed up multiple people from other promotions.
Joshua.
Yes. So I have like maybe a few, not too many releases, because in Impact and in other promotions and maybe around the world, everybody deserves an opportunity. But I have chose to come to the releases of Shira, Sam Beal, let's see, I might. Should I release you, Johnny Bravo? Maybe. You don't do anything, but we'll keep you anyway for payment. That's all I have for releases, pretty much.
All right. Now we're going to get ready to one of the best parts of the show. We are going to go to our signings. For me, for the signings, I'm going to go for my Raw signings. I got Toxic Attraction, Braun Breaker, Elias, Lacey Evans, Enzo and Cass, Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, The Hurricane, and John Cena.
Oh, all right. Not too bad.
Josh.
So for me, I have signed to Impact a lot of independent talent. So I have Ken Broadway, Cash Flow from House of Glory Wrestling, local promotion here in New York City. Buddy Matthews, The Secret No More. Effie, one of the top independent wrestlers out there. The Space Jesus herself, Billy Starks. You may have known him in WWE for a short time as Ari Sterling, but he's coming to Impact as Alex Zane again. Alex Zane. Casey Navarro, Truly Blessed. I've also signed The Bird and the Bee, which is a tag team of Solo Darling and Willow Nightingale. I've signed them as part of the Knockouts tag team division. Now I have Eric Redbeard, better known as Eric Rowan, as well as Jonah, Chris Dickinson, Colby Carino, son of Steve Carino, Killian McMurphy, Amazing Red, Killer Kelly, Allison Kay, Marty Bell, O'Shea Edwards, Davey Richards, Jeff Cobb, Bandito. I signed myself as a part-time competitor of the roster.
Yeah.
I signed the big guy Ryback, Beer City Bruiser, the Briscoes, Mia Yim, Matt Cross, Nolo Catano, Masha Slamovich, Taya Valkyrie, and Davey Boy Smith Jr.
All right. Let's go with AJ.
This one could be possibly a long one, but I got guys like Adam Cole, Adam Page, Adam Shear,
Adam Cole's already on the roster.
Huh?
Sign who you.
About the signing.
Just say who you signed.
Oh, I signed like the AEW wrestlers. We got Adam Cole, Adam Page.
He's already on the roster.
Dude, we're talking about people you signed. Not
you signed.
Who are already on the roster.
Not who Tony Khan signed.
Okay.
Tony Khan, Danielson, Paul.
All right. Adam
Jerry
Shear,
Lynn,
Anthony Green, A.R. Fox, the Barbarian, Biff Busick, Brody Lee, Christian Casanova. We also got Dan
Casanova
Harrison.
Valentine.
Desmond Xavier. EC3. Jay Evans. Jimmy
Nice.
Ray. Johnny Gargano. Juventud Guerrera. Killer Cross. Kurt Vale. Lance Scaper. Matt Tremont. Mr. Grimm. Nick Gage. Red Titus. Sheila. Ted DiBiase Jr., the Wardlow, and then we also got Zachary Wentz and Wyndham. And then for the women's division, we got Big Mama and Riley Matthews, the Forces of Nations. And like indie promotions, you might have seen them in NWF. Shout out to Riley, a former member of this podcast.
Right.
And Riley, if you're watching this, I'm including you in my roster. Hope you make it big very soon. Big Mama,
Right.
as well, shout out to her for being a good friend and a partner to Riley. These two are gonna dominate the AEW women's roster.
What about the guy who wears a chicken suit at wrestling shows?
I'll sign you too, Mr. Chicken Man.
What
Cousin
about John
Wyatt?
Carlson and Junior Dangerfield? Sign us too.
Okay.
No, I'm not gonna sign you
All
guys.
elite.
But yeah, those are all my signings, though, for real.
It's like we don't want to do this. All right, Jason.
Okay, so my signings are Asuka, Bailey from Five Nights at Freddy's Balloon Boy. I signed Bob Backlund, the Street Profits. From GTA 5, I signed Franklin. And here are some podcast members. From Crash and Burn, I signed Jacob. From Cinematic Analysis and the Moshcast, I signed Dylan, Julian. And a close friend for the Moshcast, I signed Kevin. From MSOT Rocks, I signed a former member, Metal Rock Reviews, Max. A good friend of ours from there, Tom Bland. Former member James Morales. I signed Ronald Van Donald, Evan. I signed from Minecraft, Steven Alex. I signed myself. And I signed almost a superhero, Nikki ASH.
Okay.
Oh, hey.
Okay. You forgot somebody.
Who?
Who?
Uncle Kermit.
Alright, I'll add him right now.
And you forgot Elmo, Cookie Monster, Big Bird, and Jimmy.
Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out.
Come on.
Okay, guys, ignore this. All right, let's go down. We're gonna talk about our rivalry, and then we're gonna.
What about my signings?
All right.
What about me? It was supposed to be me.
Oh, Nick,
Nick, you're signed. Come over here, bud.
you're signing, Nick. Go.
All right. Before I get
Nick,
press
you're going to be a
confirmed.
manager of one of my tag team divisions.
I
Go
thought
ahead.
I thought I
Thank
already
you.
got Nick, but okay.
That means a lot to me. All right. For my signings, I've got Kenta Kobashi, Paul Ellering, Arturo Ruiz, Nick Dinsmore, Israel Adesanya, Naomichi Marufuji, Jonathan Gresham, apparently Lucas, I guess. I don't remember when I threw him in there, but all right, sure, let's roll with it. Great Muda, Vladimir Kozlov, Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, Jason Jordan, Oksana, Ilya Draganov, Kid Bandit, Dewdrop, ACH, Andrew Everett, Roosh, Kushida, Dominic Dijak, Walter, Tyson Kidd, Shane Douglas, Nick Khan.
Why, man? Out of all people, why Nick Khan? You should have signed him, Money Don't Kneel.
You'll see in a
I'm
bit.
You
Don't
should
worry.
have signed Earl Hebner over that motherfucker.
I think
Sign Grover.
I think you'll be pleasantly surprised right
Okay,
now.
Josh, enough. Enough.
All right. All right. Did you get everybody, Nick?
Yeah, I got everybody. Don't worry.
All right, now we're gonna get to the rivalries before we go to the storylines. The rivalries. Let's start with AJ.
All right, so for my fantasy bookings, I would probably have some rivalries in here.
You're not
Like-
talking about the stories yet. You're just talking about rivalries.
Okay.
Okay.
Like, rivalries like Chris Jericho and Humberto Guerrero, who is the better WCW wrestler. We also got another rivalry, Adam Cole and the Yumbots versus Kenny Omega and the Guerrillas of Destiny. I just signed them just now.
Oh.
Yeah. It's Bullet
G.O.D.
Club versus Bullet Club. Who is the true Bullet Club? Let's see. Either Adam Cole and the Yumbots, or Kenny Omega and the Guerrillas of Destiny. Also another rivalry we got is Adam Shear and EC3 taking out everyone in the tag team division, and having the main rivalry is Darby Allin and Sting. And then the rivalries for the hardcore division, we got Nick Gage and Sheila. I'm definitely familiar with these guys. I met these guys last year. They were cool, but now they're going to have a rivalry.
Cool.
And then for the world title, for the next rivalry, like for the world title, I would have Bryan Danielson and Lance Archer for the world title. Or actually, no, better than that. Bryan Danielson and Wyndham Rotunda for the AEW world title.
Cool.
And then for the tag team championship rivalry, we got Lucha Bros and Men of the Year.
Okay.
And then for the women's championship rivalry, we got Thunder Rosa. Oh wait, Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. That will lead to Thunder Rosa becoming the new AEW Women's Champion. Congratulations, Thunder Rosa, right there. And then Britt's gonna get another rematch and get a rematch after rematch after rematch, and then she keep losing, and then moves on. So next rivalry, Britt Baker versus Tay Conti. And then after that, the Bullet Club is done. That Bullet Club versus Bullet Club match, Adam Cole and the Yumbots are gonna move on to bigger and better things, like have Kenny
AJ,
Omega.
we're not to the storylines yet. We're just talking about your feuds.
All right. Anyways, all right. That was all my rivalries. Ignore what I just said. Also another tag. We're gonna have another tag team rivalry. The Forces of Nations and the team of, which is really random, Allie and Penelope Ford.
The Bunny and Penelope. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Okay. I'm going to go over my feud so that way I don't miss it. I'm going to have Big E versus Brock Lesnar. Randy Orton. I'm going to split up RK Bro and have Orton and Riddle feud. I'm going to have Edge versus AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. Liv Morgan versus Toxic Attraction. Kevin Owens versus Matt Hardy. The Miz versus Braun Breaker. John Cena and people from the Raw roster take on my faction, which is the Killer Corporation. I'm going to have AJ versus Goldberg.
Fuck you!
And Enzo and Cass versus Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz versus Alpha Academy.
Bobby Hill.
Nicholas.
All right. So here we go. I got a few interesting rivalries here. First off, I have Nick Khan versus the entire New Japan roster.
He's gonna get destroyed.
Yeah. We have that rivalry. We also have Zack Saber Jr. and Ilya Draganov have a rivalry. We've got also Roosh versus Naomichi Marufuji. That's another rivalry.
That would be a good one.
We got Okada and Great Muda have a rivalry.
That's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, Godot and Ishii versus Kodabushi and Hiroshi Tanahashi. That's another tag feud there. The Golden Aces versus the whatever the hell their other team name is. The fucking New Japan isn't good at making tag names. Sorry. Got Gresham, Jonathan Gresham and Walter have a feud over the ROH World Title. And we got Samoa Joe and Tetsuya Naido have a feud over the World Title. Iwgp title. Got a feud between Sonata, Keith Lee, and Dominic Dijak over the US title. We got Minoru Suzuki and Kenta Kobashi. They've got a feud. We've got Israel Adesanya and Will Osprey. They have a feud over the King stuff or whatever. I don't know. Playing into English stereotypes or whatever. Whatever way you want to look at that. And that kind of wraps up our feuds right there. So we got the feuds right there.
What?
I said that's the end of it.
Let's go with Jason.
All right.
Feuds.
We're going from me now.
Yeah.
All right. Rivalries. I'm gonna go have Kevin and Julian in Falls Count Anywhere matches. Steve and Alex feud with the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. Franklin and Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. James and Shinsuke for the Intercontinental Championship. And I'm going to have a SmackDown Women's Championship tournament to determine the new champion.
Fuck you, Charlotte.
That's it.
That's
all right. Josh, feuds.
All right, let's get into things. So, one of my main feuds, I've always wanted to see a match between these two guys. The Ultimate Finesser Chris Bay against the legendary Chris Sabin. Brian Myers will have a feud against Eddie Edwards. El Phantasmo will be feuding with none other than John Schuyler, who's been on Dark, now just signed with Impact recently. Heath Slater, as you may know him best as, will be feuding with the one and only Eric Young. Josh Alexander will be feuding with the Drama King, Matthew Rehwoldt. Rich Swann will be feuding with, let's see here. The Rich Swann, I'm going to put him in a feud with VSK.
I thought it was going to be Sami Callihan. Damn.
No. Sami Callihan will be in a feud with Super Mex himself, Hernandez.
Interesting.
And for the women's, Jessica Havoc will be feuding with the current Impact Digital Media Champion in real life, Jordan Grace. And last and certainly not least, for the tag teams, we have Finjuice and the Good Brothers for the men's. And for the women's, we have Tenille Dashwood and Madison Rayne, the Influence, feuding with the Inspiration. And then finally, we will have Tasha Steelz feud with Rachel Ellering. And yeah, that is some of my feuds.
Before we talk about our storylines, we're going to get into our tag divisions because, tag teams are always important because we wouldn't have wrestling without tag teams. All right, for my tag division, Let's see if I can find it. All right, for the tag division, for me, I got the Mysterios, Alpha Academy, Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz, the Killer Corporation, which is me and my faction, and Enzo and Gas.
All right.
Jason, tell your tag division.
I don't really have much tag teams except for the one I signed, Steve and Alex. I'll keep the current tag teams that are on the roster now.
Yeah. AJ, tag team.
All right. My tag team division will be the Dark Order, Alex Reynolds and John Silver. Also, the Dark Order, Evil Uno and Dude Grayson. Top Flight, Lucha Bros, Proud and Powerful, SCUs, Christopher Daniels, and Frankie Kazarian. Yeah, I'm bringing that team back. Men of the Year, Jurassic Express, Red Dragon, FTR, The Acclaim, 2.0, The Rascals, Fair Country, The Varsity Blondes, Starry Allen and Sting, The Gun Club, Adam Shearer and EC3, Control Your Narrative. And we got The Power of Pain, and then Kurt Bale and Landscaper, known as Bad Company. And then for the women's tag team, Allie and Penelope Ford and the Forces of Nature. Of Nation. Sorry. All right, is it the Forces? All right, let me get this right. The Forces of Nature or the Forces of Nation?
Nature.
All right, yeah, I had it. All right, the Force of Natures and Allie and Penelope Ford. That's it.
Okay.
And then also we got I also got the Elite as well, technically. The Super Click, Adam Cole and the Yumbots, or you can have just the Yumbots. I also got Best Friends and the Blade and the Butcher, and then Private Party. That's my last tag team there. That's a stacked up tag team right there.
Not bad.
Yeah. All right. Who's next?
All right. Let's see, Josh. Show me your tag team.
All right, so for my tag teams, we're gonna have Ace Austin and Madman Fulton still be a team.
Ooh.
We're gonna have the I guess you could say the Impact Wrestling version of the Bullet Club. I know the Bullet Club's one big faction, but these are the guys under contract with the company. We have Chris Bay, Hikulo, and El Fantasmo, better known as the Bullet Club. We have DK for the men's, which is Black Taurus and Crazy Steve. Of course, Finn Juice, David Finley, and Juice Robinson. Of course, the Good Brothers. We will have Rhino and Heath still be a team because, Heath and Rhino are great friends and they're great competitors in the ring. So, of course, Violent by Design, which consists of Joe Doring, Cody Deaner, and, of course, the the world-class maniac himself, Eric Young. For the women's tag teams, we will have Tasha Steeles and Savannah Evans, The Inspiration, The Influence, Rachel Ellering and Jordan Grace will be a team at part-time, as well as singles competitors. And then DK, which is Rosemary, and whoever I'm going to add to that. I'm probably going to add Sue Young to the DK tag team because they go well with each other. And I'm going to make this tag team up. I think this is a pretty good combination. I'm going to make a team of, let's see, I'm going to go with TJP, and I'm going to team him up with Falaba.
Yeah!
Yep.
Yay! Even though that's
And last...
that was technically already a thing, Josh, but thank you.
Yeah, they're still a team. And then finally, this is a new team. We're going to have the team of Jake Something and John Schuyler.
Oh, wow. Okay. Josh, with the fresh tag team division, huh? I see you.
And then we're going to have Willie Mack, and we're going to team Willie, and we're going to have Willie Mack team up with, let's see, who would be good to team him up with? I am actually going to have him, Willie Mack. You know what? Change of plans. We're going to have Hernandez and Homicide team up for the last time ever.
Yes!
Very
Yes!
nice. Very
That's
nice.
good.
And then they'll go their separate ways as part of the storyline. Those are my teams.
Very nice.
Nicholas, show us your tag team.
All right. So tag teams. Obviously, we have the tag team champions, Godot and Ishii, kind of a thrown together tag team, but they kind of did it out of opportunity, and that opportunity's been pretty good considering they're the tag team champions. Ibushi and Tanahashi, two guys who haven't really seen a lot of success as of late, kind of fell out of favor. They decided to team up to try their hand at tag team wrestling. I've got, let's see, we've got Bullet Club. Kenta and Jay White are going to be a team for a wee bit. We also have the new Soviet Union, which is Draganov and Kozlov. They're of course, stereotypical Russians, because of course every single promotion has to have that. I've got basically, Bullet Club, the Fale, Owens, basically everybody who's in Bullet Club is in Bullet Club. What else do I have to say in terms of that? In terms of tag teams, that's kind of it. We also got Jeff Cobb and Great Okan. They're also a tag team. And that's about it, I think. I have Girls Destiny are kind of shared, I think, between us. So, yeah, I'm going to say that they're also a tag team.
All right, guys, now we're getting ready for the best time of the night. Get ready for the storytelling storyline.
Oh, boy.
Or matches we're booking, right?
Ready for some? Yeah, it's all our imagination.
Thank you, SpongeBob.
Thank you, SpongeBob.
Yes. Thank you very much.
All right, after we're going to get ready and tell our stories, let's give Nick time, and let's start with Jason.
All right, so my storylines are not exactly going to be long, but I think it's pretty decent, at least for me. But starting off with the storytelling for Kevin and Julian's rivalry. So this is all my imaginations.
You may say.
Kevin was making a SmackDown debut after WrestleMania, addressing the WWE Universe, until the Heavy Metal Joker interrupted him. They went back and forth with roasting each other about Julian being the mentor for Kevin. So this is about arguing about not wanting a mentor to help them become a better superstar. And even though Kevin does not want help from Julian then challenged him in a Falls Count Anywhere match at Backlash, only for Julian to pick up the win. So now, this next one is about the tag team titles. Steve and Alex fails to win the SmackDown tag team titles at Backlash. The next SmackDown, they argued until Steve drops a challenge, and the Usos accepted a title match at Hell in a Cell for Steve and Alex to win the title. So that's the short one right there. Next up, Franklin from GTA 5 failed to win the Universal Championship at WrestleMania. And Franklin said this: "I will beat the shit out of you at Backlash, man, and I will take your fucking title." Roman accepted. The Bloodline then beats the shit out of him. They have their match at Backlash, and Franklin dethrones the head of the table.
Okay, that's a good storytelling.
Shinsuke retains the Intercontinental Championship over James with the help of Pat McAfee at WrestleMania. The next week on SmackDown was a rematch, and Pat was not able to make it due to the travel issues, and Corey Graves filled in for him. Rick Boogs was ejected from ringside due to attempted interference. Sonya Deville then came out and turned it into a no DQ match. James used a chair. Shinsuke was knocked out. James wins the title.
Ow.
And due to the release of Charlotte Flair, a tournament was announced to determine the new SmackDown Women's Champion. The finals take place at Mania. The competitors would be Asuka, Bayley, Nikki ASH, Natalya, Ilya, Toni Storm, Shotzi, and Xia Li.
Jason.
Okay.
Ooh.
So the finals would then be Bayley and Xia Li. Xia Li picks up the win. Then Ilya bitches and whines that she should have won the tournament. Xia Li then
That's not
faces
right.
Ilya at Backlash. Ilya loses, and Xia Li retains.
Yeah. Jason, when you
That's
mean
it.
Franklin, you're talking about this Franklin, right?
I'm talking about the one from GTA.
The gangster.
Hey, Franklin.
Okay.
Don't sing that.
As of our fantasy booking, all have our mics muted so that way the person can tell their story.
Well, who's up next?
All right, everyone mute their mics because it's time for AJ to tell his stories.
Oh, I thought someone else was going to be next, but all right. I wasn't expecting that. All right, so for my matches or storytelling, so the forces of nature are the most dominant team in AEW, and then Ellie and Penelope are the bitch and whine that they should be the best, not the forces of nature, and then they have a match, and then the force of nature defeat Allie and Penelope Ford easily because of Big Mama's bitch strength and Riley Matthews, of course, with the athleticism. Yeah, both guys are great athletes, and I just see them dominating throughout the next year. And then the Super Clips versus the Young Best Friends. Yeah, the Best Friends and Super Clips are actually building that in real life, but I want to make this differently though. Like have Best Friends be out of action for a few weeks, and then the Yumbots and Adam Cole are gonna taunt the crowd and pretty much defeat and just pretty much dominates the tag team division. And then the Best Friends come back, and then they have a match, and then the Best Friends get the ultimate win. And then the Dark Order, Alex Reynolds, John Silver, Evil Uno, and Stu Greason versus the Blade, the Butcher, and the Private Party. Yeah, and I forgot. Oh yeah, I said that. All right, the Best Friends will win that match, and then the Dark Order, the Blade, and the Butcher, and the Private Party. Obviously, they're gonna go at it in a tied match with no proper storytelling, to be honest, because I feel like this is gonna be a little sleeper because both guys are great and all, but yeah, but the Dark Order are much enjoyable than the other team here. But I think obviously Dark Order will get the win because they will prove they are the most dominant factions in AEW. And then Britt Baker, and then the current champion Britt Baker will have there's no competitors left to face for the AEW Women's Championship, and then Tony Schiavone will come out and break out the bad news to Britt Baker that she has to defend the title against Tay Conti, Anna Jay, Hikaru Shida, Ruby Soho, Donna Rosa, Chris Statlander, Nyla Rose, Riho, and Jay Cargill for the AEW Women's Championship. And then Adam Cole's going to react that, oh, this is such bullshit, man, because my girlfriend's going to lose the title. Son of a bitch. But in reality, we all know Adam Cole is a douchebag, and he loves Britt so much, he's a simp. Anyways, and then Britt Baker, will compete in a ladder match, a 10-man ladder match for the women's title. And then Adam Cole tried to interfere the match and help Britt retain the title, but it's gonna be Thunder Rosa finishing off Britt Baker, hit her with a finisher, climbs the ladder, and wins the women's title. What a match. It was a great match. Thunder Rosa deserves this moment. And then Chris Jericho and Juventud Guerrera, we have to determine who is the better WCW wrestler from the last 20 years. And obviously Jericho is going to bring his old school gimmick back. Not his paymaker, the demo god, the little champion, the little bit of bubbly stuff. None of that. He's going to bring his Lionheart gimmick back. And he is going to prove that he is the better WCW wrestler than Juventud Guerrera. And then Juventud will say the same thing to Jericho, and then they're going to have a classic match. They're going to have a banger match. And then Juventud Guerrera defeats Chris Jericho, proving that he is the best WCW wrestler in the world. And then we're going to have a 40-man Royal Rumble match for the TNT title, which consists of Sammy Guevara, Leo Rush, Malachi Black, Ricky Starks, Brian Cage, Hook, Send Hook, Joey Janela, Andrade El Idolo, Alan Angels, Martel Stunt, Matt Sydal, Sean Spears, Wardlow, MJF, Jay Lethal, Tony Nese, Powerhouse Hobbs, Cody Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes, Eddie Kingston, Kip Sabian, and Hanagold, Jack Evans, Jamie Rave, Jake Hager, Brody Lee, Drew Gulak, Christian Cage, Stan Housen, Taylor Cross, Mr. Grimm, Johnny Gargano, Red Titus, Cliff Gordon, Carmelo Hayes, or Christian Casanova, Biff Busick, and Anthony Green, Ted DiBiase Jr., and Jay Evans, and AR Fox for the TNT title. And then when we get to the final two, Hook and Jimmy Rave, and then like when the match starts, Hook is gonna go under the ring, and then he's being smart here, and then the rest of the competitors eliminate each other and all that stuff, and then it'll be down to Jimmy Rave in the ring, and then Hook will come from behind and attack Jimmy Rave, and then Hook eliminates Jimmy Rave, and the crowd's gonna go nuts because Jimmy Rave just got defeated by Hook, and he wins the TNT title, which means he will be unifying the FTW and the TNT title. So the TNT title will stay there, and then the FTW is no longer there. And then the Dark Order, and then the next matchup, we got Dark Orders, Paul Cabana, Preston Vance versus Top Flight, Lucha Bros, Proud and Powerful, SCU, The Man of the Year, Jurassic Express, Red Dragon, FTR, The Acclaim versus 2.0, and the Rascals, and then Bear Country for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. And this will be a battle royal too. And then ultimately FTR will get the win because they deserve a long reign of AEW. Please give them another shot. And then we got the Varsity Blondes versus Darby Allin the Varsity Blondes versus Darby Allin and Sting versus Gun Club versus Adam Shear versus EC3 in a tag match. In a 4-way tag team match. And then ultimately Adam Shear is gonna dominate this match. And he will pin Darby Allin for the win. And then EC3 and Adam Shear will get the win here, proving that they can control the narrative and be the most dominant team here. And then Nick Gage, Sheila, and Matt Tremont in a triple threat match for the AEW Hardcore Championship. And these guys are gonna go nuts. Light tubes, fucking tables, ladders, chairs, thumbtacks, everything. And then Nick Gage will be the ultimate victorious. And then we're gonna have another match: the Powers of Pain versus Lance Gabbard and Kurt Bale, because these guys been going on it in SWF for a few months, and I see a lot in Power of Pain. And fun fact, I actually talked to one of the members of the Powers of Pain at an indie show just 2 years ago, and both guys are to go at it. And Powers of Pain are ultimately going to get the win because they're legends. And then the main event, Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson, Pac, Hangman Adam Page, Jon Moxley, Lance Archer, CM Punk, Miro with the debuting CJ or Lana versus Wyndham Rotunda for the AEW World Championship. And you'll be very not surprised about this one. I'm actually to go with CM Punk for the win. This is going to be a ladder match, by the way. CM Punk for AEW World Champion. He's going to hold that title for really quite a while. And then Wyndham is going to challenge Punk. And then Wyndham will dominate CM Punk and prove that he is the most scariest motherfucker in AEW. And Wyndham will have a long, long reign for a couple of years at least. And that's all my matches.
That's a good one. Oh.
Next up will be Mr. Josh. Silent our mic.
All right. So these are the current feuds in Impact Wrestling. So for the World Championship, we of course have Matt Cardona versus Moose. For the championship, of course, for the women's side, our first feud will be Lady Frost and Masha Slamovich. Another one will be Mickie James and Deonna Purrazzo. Not for the Knockouts title, but in terms of, seeing who is the better women of Impact Wrestling. Another one is Steve Maclin and Trey Miguel. That's another good one right there. I love both those guys. John Skyler is going to be feuding with the Drama King, Matt Raywold, to see if Matt can pull off any more drama in the matches, and John wants to know if he can win like an actual performer would and not cheat his way through. Another one we will have in the tag team division, which is the current tag, which is Finn Juice feuding with the Bullet Club. And another one for the X Division title, Brian Myers is going to be feuding with, this one may surprise you guys. He's going to be feuding with his own prodigy. He's going to be feuding with VSK. VSK called out Myers, and he's going to say, I want the X Division title. But I am going to be in a feud on Impact because it was someone's idea backstage to put me in a feud with Mr. All Night Long Rich Swann. And I was like, okay. In my imagination, I would say I would like to work with Rich. Rich Swann's a great wrestler, great performer. I would say yes. And then last, we have a few more feuds. We're going to have a tag team feud with Violent by Design versus Rhino and Heath. And then also, I'm also putting together a tag team title #1 contender tournament with some of the best tag teams in Impact Wrestling. That's part of the feud. And finally, the biggest feud, Josh Alexander and W. Morrissey. Well, W. Morrissey went to WWE in this yearbook, but instead, I have found the best replacement yet. Feuding with Josh Alexander is someone Impact Wrestling I've looked up to. He's going to be feuding with somebody that I think can bring an A-game match with Josh Alexander. And the meshing styles work. Josh Alexander is going to be feuding with Ace Austin. But then someone else came to me and you're like, we got to book this feud. So we're going to have Eddie Edwards feud with none other than this man right here, Jake something. And then Jonah is going to be going on to face Cardona for the world title. But first, he has to get through a #1 contenders tournament against Madman Fulton to see who is going to face Matt Cardona at the next pay-per-view. And finally, Rachel Ellering and Jordan Grace went their separate ways for a short time being, and I've decided to put Rachel Ellering in a feud with Tasha Steelz' protege, Savannah Evans. So those are my feuds for Impact, and I might have a little more to come, but those are some of the feuds I had in mind. So, yeah. And storylines. There we go.
Now with the man who has the long-ass storyline, Nick Isaacs.
All right, let's begin, shall we? All right, so like the freaking crazy motherfuckers in real life, I'm doing day 1 and day 2 of Wrestle Kingdom, but we're in Wrestle Kingdom 18. We're going to open up the show with a random-ass match because that's how you always do it in New Japan. We'll start off with a 10-man tag team match between Arturo Ruas, Nick Dinsmore, Jason Jordan, Kid Bandit, Satoshi Kojima versus Shane Douglas, ACH, Hiroshi Tenzan, Kozlov, and Nick Khan. So Nick Khan was thrown in this match because he lost a bet to Antonio Inoki. We will not specify what that bet is, but yeah. So the match starts off. It's kind of competitive, whatever. And Nick Khan gets tagged in and gets completely spooked by Satoshi Kojima, and he goes to make the tag with one of the members of his team. But then everybody comes from all sides of the ring, and they beat up Nick Khan. Everyone beats up Nick Khan. Everybody hates Nick Khan, and everybody starts to beat the shit out of him. The freaking commentators, Jim Cornette gets in the ring and hits him in the head with a chair, and everybody freaking beats the shit out of Nick Khan. The entire audience gets up and starts throwing chairs into the ring for them to beat Nick Khan with. And then they put him through every single announcer's table in the arena. And then they freaking throw all the chairs onto him. And then everybody pins him. And they throw his ass out of the Tokyo Dome. Fuck Nick Khan. He is out of there. Anyway, that's how we're opening up Wrestle Kingdom Day 1. Our next match is going to be Rush versus Naomichi Marufuji, obviously with the ROH shutdown. There's a lot of uncertainty about where everyone's going, and to the shock of everybody, Rush makes his debut in New Japan Pro Wrestling as a member of Los Ingobernables de Japón. I think I pronounced that right. If I didn't, rip, I guess. He debuts for Naido's faction, and he immediately declares that he is going to be the next IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. He is going to be the guy in New Japan. He does pretty well for himself. He doesn't win major things. He does progressively well in the G1 Climax. But he's ultimately kind of disappointing in the beginning of his run. He takes out his frustrations on Kenta Kobashi. He attacks him, leaves him out of it for quite a while. And in response to that, Naomichi Marufuji, who was a member of Pro Wrestling Noah with Kenta Kobashi, he comes out and he calls out Rush on his BS. And he says that if LIJ was to be a true faction of New Japan and truly representative of the promotion, they would abandon him for being such a piece of shit. They don't do that, however, and Rush kind of laughs at him over it, and he says, if anybody's going to shut me up, it's going to be in the ring. If you want to shut me up, you face me at Wrestle Kingdom. And Marufuji accepts this challenge. He's a veteran. He hasn't wrestled in a really long time, so everyone's kind of betting their cards against him from the get-go. But the two have an insane match, same first singles match in Wrestle Kingdom Night 1. Rush does a lot of high-flying stuff, high-impact moves, a lot of power bombs, crazy drop kicks, and kind of just toys Marufuji, doing some light kicks. He doesn't really take him that seriously, but when he does, he's trying to put him out for good. Marufuji, though, he does counter back. He shows that while he's still a veteran, he can definitely hang with the new generation. He's doing flips. He's doing all sorts of crazy stuff. He counters all this crazy stuff. But in the end, his stamina, his adrenaline, it all catches up with him. Marufuji can't. He can't continue, and Bruce just absolutely annihilates him by the end. Hits him with a power bomb off the top rope. He's going to do the bull's horns move in the corner, and instead he just slaps him in the face, a final act of disrespect, and then he hits him with that drop kick in the bottom corner. 1, 2, 3. It's over. Rush gets a major victory at Wrestle Kingdom. But he continues to attack Marufuji after the bell. Kind of just absolute disrespect. And some members of LIJ come out and are like, what the hell are you doing, man? And he's like, come on, guys, this guy was disrespecting our name. He was disrespecting us, our message. And he's like, come on, let's do the taunt. And LIJ refuses, and they walk out without him. Ironically, in beating the guy that disrespected them, Rush proved to them that he isn't exactly LIJ material. Next, we've got the match for the vacant never openweight 6-man tag team titles. That's going to be Makabe, Hanma, and Fred Rosser versus Bad Luck Fale, Chase Owens, and Hikuleu. Not really much of a story here. Just titles are vacant. New Japan held a mini tournament in December, and those were the teams that made it through. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of speculation about the sort of makeshift tag team with Makabe, Hanma, and Rosser. Rosser's trying to prove himself here. There's a bit of that in this match. But Fale and the Bullet Club, obviously, they have the long history. They have a lot of chemistry, so that's going to play into it. But Rosser definitely proves himself. He's hanging with all these big guys. He's doing insane power moves to Hikuleu and Fale. He's proven to be a very strong guy that you don't want to mess with, and he's getting over with the crowd. And ultimately, Hanma and Makabe do some big moves, isolate Fale and Hikuleu, and allow Rosser to take out Owens with the fireman's carry double knee gutbuster, a little bit of a throwback, and he pins him, and they win the vacant 6-man tag titles, and Rosser is now looking like a potential new star in New Japan. Next up, we have the never openweight championship match between Zack Saber Jr. and Ilya Draganov. Ilya Draganov has Lana in her corner. Obviously, he made his New Japan debut back at Wrestle Kingdom 17. Those two fought at Wrestle Kingdom 17, in fact, for that title. Draganov lost to Saber Jr., but now he's got Lana in his corner, and he spent the last year basically in a sort of fight camp thing. He's gone to Siberia. He's gone and done all this crazy training. We see vignettes throughout the year of him just friggin' bulking up. Yes, Lana. Bruh. All right. All right. Yeah, Lana. It's Oksana. I never said Lana. It's Oksana now. Never said anything else. There you go. Calling an audible here. All right, so it's Oksana now. Crazy, bitchy, whining Oksana. All right. Again, nothing changes except Lana never existed. It's Oksana. Always was. If you say it's Lana, I will find you. Draganov basically does his whole training camp, whatever, trying to prepare for Saber Jr. once again. Jr. told him, if you want to prove you're the greatest European wrestler of all time, get your act together, bitch, and fight me again next year. And Draganov gladly accepts. And so we finally come back, Wrestle Kingdom 18, day 1, and Draganov definitely shows he's improved. Saber Jr. is an excellent counter, submission specialist, grappler, but Draganov seems to have his number, and also Oksana is being a whiny bitch on the outside and making Saber Jr.'s ears bleed, as well as the rest of the audience, and they want her thrown out, but Jim Cornette says, shut up, keep it here anyway. And ultimately, Draganov makes one fatal error. He tries to hit one more big move. He hit the Torpedo Moscow, but he just could not get enough of it. He tried to submit Saber Jr. He tried to go for the crowd pleaser, the ultimate humiliation, to tap out Saber Jr., and it was a massive mistake. Saber Jr. quickly counters, hits a sleeper suplex, and then locks in a grounded I guess just almost like a Gargano escape of sorts, as well as an STF, and forces Ilya Dragunov to tap out while Oksana is screaming her freaking lungs out on the outside. Dragunov is devastated, and Zack Saber Jr. retains never openweight title. He will hold that title forever because Zack Saber Jr. is my guy. Next match is Kazushika Okada versus Great Muda. So Kazushika Okada has also been having a bit of an identity crisis. He wasn't even on the last show. He wasn't even on Wrestle Kingdom 17. He was completely left off the card. He has practically fallen off the map, and he wants to get back to his winning ways. So to spark some interest, to spark some excitement, he calls out anybody in New Japan to come and fight him at Wrestle Kingdom 18. Calls out anybody, and Keiji Muto comes out and he's like, I'm tired of you thinking that you're not accepted, that you don't have attention, you're just an attention seeker. You have no honor for this sport. You don't want to earn anything. You just want to have everybody know who you are, and it disgusts me. I will take this challenge only to beat the shit out of you and shut you up once and for all. Okada accepts, and later on he comes out and he says, rain is inevitable, and so the Rainmaker shall also be inevitable. And Keiji Muto responds to him and says, what else is inevitable? Hell. And the lights go out and he comes back on and he's in the face paint. He's got the mask on. He's got all the Great Muda gear on, and he sprays the mist in Okada's eyes. His face is burning or whatever, and he is just in complete agony. So it's clear that what was once just a attempt by Okada to get back into the focus of the public, it's now turned into something incredibly personal, especially for an old guard like the Great Muda. So these two finally get their match at Wrestle Kingdom 18. It's a very strategic match. Okada desperately wants to win here. Just having the match is not enough. He's got to get the W. And of course, Muda wants to shut him up. So there's a lot of back and forth. Okada does a lot of big power moves, and Muda seems like he doesn't even feel them. He's very much channeling the power of Great Muda of old, and so Okada's going to go and level up the ante here. He's doing some crazy moves. He's doing a tombstone off the top rope to the mat. He does a Rainmaker through a table, however you want to picture that. Doing all this stuff. And the climax of the match comes when Okada is trying to hit the Rainmaker on Muda. Muda ducks, and Okada accidentally takes out the referee with the Rainmaker. And Muda decides to take the opportunity. He's going to hit him with the mist, but there was a chair in the ring from earlier. Muda goes for the mist. Okada blocks the mist with a chair and then proceeds to hit him over the head with the chair, combine the power of the chair and the mist. It's an absolutely devastating move. Okada then hits the tombstone on the chair, and then he goes for the Rainmaker, and boom, Muda hits the mist on him just as he's about to hit the Rainmaker, and Muda then throws the chair right into Okada's face, hits him with the Shining Wizard. 1, 2, Okada kicks out, massive kick out. Muda can't believe it. He thought for sure he had it. He underestimated Okada though, and Muda tries to go for the Shining Wizard again. Okada rolls through, hits him with a massive power bomb, rolls him through. Rainmaker picks him up again, throws the chair onto him. Rainmaker with the chair. 1, 2, 3. Okada beats Great Muda, and yeah, he's kind of stunned. He's got shell shock, PTSD of sorts from the crazy match he just had, and the experience of nearly losing this massive match he needed to win. And so he's going to live on another day, but Okada's Wrestle Kingdom is not done yet. Next, we have the first Junior Heavyweight Championship semifinal tournament match of this night. The title was vacated after Drew Gulak left New Japan. It's going to be Andrew Everett versus Tyson Kidd. Tyson Kidd's returning to wrestling, and Andrew Everett, he's got his father, Andre the Giant, in his corner with him to cheer him on. It's going to be a classic cruiserweight match. Obviously, Kid's going to be trying to protect his neck, trying to not take any moves like that. And Andre the Giant tells his son to break him. And the ultimate heel move, Everett hits a pile driver on Tyson Kidd and beats him. He's going to move on to the finals the next night. Then we've got the tag team title match. It's going to be Hirooki Goto and Tomohiro Ishii versus Kodabushi and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Bushi and Tanahashi have had quite a history with each other, and they want to get back into the title picture, but they obviously can't get into the world title picture or any of that because obviously there's going to be other people in those positions. So they decided, you know what, we're going to go for the tag titles. Let's see if we can replicate our success one more time. Kind of a sort of nostalgia run for them. Goto and Ishii kind of take insult to this, that for them it's not really an actual shot at the gold, but more or less a crowd pleaser as they see it. And so, it's a lot of Goto and Ishii kind of showing them in this match, no, we're not just going to take this as nostalgia. We're going to beat the absolute hell out of you to prove a point. And so it's a pretty brutal match. Ishii and Ibushi have quite the history with each other, and so Ishii is just smacking the absolute hell out of him, hitting with headbutts and chops, and just Ibushi's chest bleeding by the end of this. And Goto and Tanahashi are more technical. They're going to be focusing a lot more on that. Ultimately, they just Goto and Ishii cannot handle the combined power of Ibushi and Tanahashi. They are a very formidable team. There's a reason they won the tag titles before, and that chemistry certainly hasn't left them. Ibushi hits a massive Kamigoye to Goto, and then hits a golden moonsault or whatever, the triangle moonsault to Ishii, takes him out on the outside, and Tanahashi hits a high fly flow onto a downed Ishii. Ishii kicks out at one, but then Tanahashi just goes to the top hits and two more. 1, 2, 3. Ibushi and Tanahashi are going to win the tag titles, but because of the Super Tag League tournament from earlier, they're going to be facing Kenta and Jay White on the next show for the tag titles. So their time is not done. Another junior heavyweight semifinal match, Robbie Eagles and TJP. TJP has been doing very well and strong, and that's translated into a possible title opportunity here. New Japan management is very impressed with him, and they see him as a possible future of the junior heavyweight division. Nice, simple match, kind of a shorter one, kind of to cool down the crowd a bit. And ultimately, TJP makes Eagles tap out with the knee bar, and TJP is going to move on to the finals. It's going to be Andrew Everett with Andre the Giant in his corner versus TJP for the junior heavyweight title. Next match, the ROH World Championship is on the line as Jonathan Gresham defends against possibly his most formidable opponent yet, Walter. Gresham, ROH fell apart, and he made it his mission to keep the image of ROH, the soul of ROH alive, and he's promised to do this by defending the ROH title wherever he goes. He's signed with New Japan, and he's defending the title against everybody. However, in comes Walter, who kind of scoffs at the fact that Gresham has called himself sort of the king of the mat, the king of, traditional real wrestling, and Walter said he's had enough of this talk. He's left the fake wrestling, the sports entertainment to come and teach this kid what real wrestling is, and he claims that the real wrestler has returned. And so basically this is just a battle of who is the true pro wrestling king. No offense to Israel Adesanya. And this is just an absolute murder, basically, by Walter. It's him just absolutely smacking the hell out of Gresham, bullying him, throwing him out of the ring, power bombing him into freaking barricades, the apron, to the the turnbuckles, the post, anywhere he can throw him onto. He can. At one point, he throws him out into the crowd, into like the first row. People are catching him, and Jim Cornette's like, "My God, this is a murder! This is a murder, Josh! I can't believe it! Somebody's got to take control of this." And Josh was like, "God damn it! Don't say anything. I'm freaking loving this. Don't tell him otherwise." Oh, what the fuck? Kermit's apparently also a comment. What the fuck? We have our special host spot here, Kermit. So I got tie hole without Walter's fucking killing this guy. And then Walter friggin' picks up Kermit and throws him into the fucking 29th row. He absolutely throws the shit out of him. And Iron Sheik is freaking out about Twitter or something. People don't know what the hell he's saying. But yeah, Walter is just absolutely wiping the floor with Gresham. You can see Gresham just getting emotional throughout. He's kept trying to keep a promise to ROH, to this promotion that he's dedicated himself to, that he would keep this title and defend this title and represent it. And he feels like he's failing, and that emotion is making him a usually very concentrated and confident Gresham more and more sloppy. He makes more and more mistakes when he gets the advantage, when he can possibly put away Walter. And in the end, Walter just absolutely decks him with a massive lariat and then locks in the sleeper hold, and Gresham passes out in shame. Walter is the new ROH World Champion, proves himself to be the king of wrestling. And in the main event of night one, we have the IWGP Heavyweight Championship match, Samoa Joe versus Tetsuya Naido. Naido was the world champion at Wrestle Kingdom. He was the world champion at Wrestle Kingdom 15. He lost the title to Ibushi. And he now has finally climbed his way all the way back to the top. And he's looking to topple the absolute megalodon that has been Samoa Joe. He won the G1 Climax again. Oh my God, Wyatt. All right, another good spot. All right,
Sesame Street friends.
All right, Naido brings out his Naido's new friggin'
his little Elmo. I mean, his little Sesame Street pep.
Yeah, Samoa Joe, his manager is Elmo or something, and Samoa Joe's like, "I'm so good, Naido, you suck so much. I have Elmo in my corner. I'm so gonna beat you. You suck."
And then Elmo would go, "Oh, Joe, it's all right."
And Joe punts him out of the arena. Elmo's dead. He died. Cry about it, internet. And Sesame Street apparently is sponsoring the Wrestle Kingdom. Naido just wants to vanquish the foreign invader that is Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe walks in and just proves to be even more disrespectful. He freaking throws Big Bird into the crowd. Just everywhere. And you're Sesame Street, you're dead. Samoa Joe will kill you. And the crowd chants that at every single Sesame Street person. And Naido comes out and he tries to calm everybody down. He's supporting the Sesame Street cast. Everybody boos them. They want Sesame Street to die. There's a very hostile crowd. And people are just kicking the shit out of Kermit, who is still left there from Gresham v. Walter. And they've had enough of this shit. And Joe versus Naido is a very back and forth match. There's not a lot of hostility between them. Joe just wants to keep his throne. Naido wants to vanquish Joe from New Japan. A lot of crazy counters. Joe tries to go for the Muscle Buster, and Naido at the last minute counters into a Destino. A lot of insane back and forth offense. A lot of massive clotheslines, power bombs into the Boston Crab combo by Joe, but Naido is able to get out of it and turns it into an STF. A lot of crazy stuff. Naido tries to hit a dive to the outside. Joe catches him and hits a Death Valley driver through a barricade. And Jim Cornette's like, "My God, it's another murder! I can't believe what you're doing to him, Joe." Shut up, and slaps him, and then power bombs Jim Cornette onto Naido, and then starts throwing Sesame Street dolls onto them, and then Samoa Joe puts lighter fluid on the Sesame Street dolls, and he sets the Sesame Street dolls on fire, and then he does a Death Valley driver on a Naido under the flaming Sesame Street dolls.
My God.
Wyatt, Josh Barnett is loving every second of it, and Josh Barnett starts cooking a chicken over all the fire or something. Dude is insane.
What the hell?
And Joe gets Naido into the ring. Naido hits a bunch of big moves. He throws a flaming
elbow.
Throws a flaming elbow at Joe's face. He can't see anything. He goes to the Destino. Joe counters, gets the Coquina clutch, but Naido counters into a pinfall counter. 1, 2. Joe just barely kicks out. And then Naido puts the freaking Big Bird head onto Joe so he can't see anything. One more Destino hits him. 1, 2, kicks out and gets right back into the Coquina clutch. Naido is waving everywhere, is trying to reach out to anything to try and escape the clutches of Samoa Joe. The crowd is now finally behind him because he's also shown very much discontent for anything Sesame Street or Muppet related. And Naido just manages to get out, but Joe hits a massive spikes Samoan pile driver, like that Owen Hart tombstone pile driver. 1, 2, 3. Samoa Joe retains the title, and just as the show is about to go off the air, you see a freaking Kermit doll fly out from the crowd, like, wow, into the ring, and Walter is out there. It's like, I'm not finished with you. And he climbs into the ring, and Walter and Joe fight over the Kermit doll, and they rip it in half, and they just stare each other down. And Jim Cornette, he's hobbling out. He freaking broke every bone in his body because Joe beat the shit out of him. And he's like, you know what? If you two are being such pieces of shit to our hosts, you know what? You both are going to fight one more time. Night 2, Walter versus Samoa Joe for the combined ROH, IWGP World Heavyweight titles main event. So we have the main event for day 2 set. Opening up day 2 is Andrew Everett versus TJP for the Junior Heavyweight Championship. The conclusion of the tournament, Everett's got his father, Andre the Giant, cheering him on, the 7'4" Andrew Everett, freaking trying to prove himself to his dad and to the New Japan fans. TJP obviously is the corporate guy, very much loved by the executives. He's kind of acting like the face, but the crowd rejects him because he's being pushed by the company, and they feel Everett is truly his own man. And both men give a good fight. TJP, being an absolute douchebag, takes out Andre's legs, and he's just screaming in French on the outside or something. I would do an Andre impression if I could do a good one. And Andrew Everett's like, no, my dad. And TJP friggin' takes out his knees, breaks his kneecaps or something, and then locks in the knee bar, and the crowd is just raining boos down on TJP for beating up Andrew Everett's dad. And Andrew Everett forced to tap out. TJP is new junior heavyweight champion, and the crowd is very unhappy with that conclusion. Next up, we have the U.S. title match. It's Sanada versus Lee versus Dijak. Massive challenge for Sanada to try and overcome here, but he is going into it. He accepts throughout. That's going to be probably one of the most difficult matches of his life, even though he's faced people like Okada. But he's like, you know what? I wouldn't be the United States champion. I wouldn't be a champion if I were not to face some of the biggest goddamn challengers to be thrown at me. I will accept this challenge, no matter the cost, no matter what happens to me. Lee and Dijak obviously kind of ignore Sanada because they have a lot of history, and that pisses off Sanada. So Sanada spends this match trying to sort of get the attention of Lee and Dijak, proving he is another man in the room, and he does prove himself. He's proven to be very strong. He's able to lift up Lee at one point and hit a massive suplex And he is very much proving himself to the New Japan faithful. But Lee and Dijak, they are a bunch of crazy guys who are doing all these insane moves. Lee at one point hits a massive Spanish fly off the top rope through a Japanese table on the outside. Rip. And Jim Cornette is having a hissy fit over flips and shit. He's like, come on, you gotta do some actual wrestling. We're in New Japan. You gotta wrestle here. And freaking Keith Lee's had enough of his shit, and he just does the bear slap on him. And then Dijak takes advantage of this. He boots him in the face, and he sits Lee on top of Jim Cornette in a chair, which, dear God, Jim, I'm sorry about that. And Dijak does that spot from TakeOver Portland where he's got the springboard senton onto the chair, onto Lee and Cornette. The crowd goes wild. But Sonata counters back, hits a German on him on the outside. He tries to take advantage. He's about to his finisher move, but Dijak flips out of it, and Sonata can't believe it. He underestimated him, and Dijak just hits a Canadian Destroyer and hits the Feast Your Eyes on him. 1, 2, 3. Dominic Dijak wins the United States Championship, and he finally gets his moment. However, Keith Lee points out to him, he gets on the mic, he said, you still haven't beaten me, you dumbass. I'm still here. And Dijak's like, shut up. Shut up, man. Don't remind me of that. And he kind of cries and runs off into a corner or something. Next, we've got Minoru Suzuki versus Kenta Kobashi. Kenta Kobashi got his shit kicked in by Rush, and so he's pissed off. He wanted to fight Rush, but Marufuji backed him off. He's like, no, man, I'm going to take this fight. But Minoru Suzuki sees that Kobashi wants to fight. He's like, I don't got a match coming up, but I'll accept it. Obviously, it's a trap because Minoru Suzuki is a sadistic mother effer, and he just wants to kill people for a living, whether it's legal or not. And so for the entire build-up, Suzuki is just absolutely taunting him. He goes to Kobashi's house and he lights stuff on fire and whatever. He's taunting him. He goes to Pro Wrestling Noah and just beats the shit out of all the young lions there and beats up the champion. And he's like, this is where you came from. This is the house you built. Your house is made of wood, and I'm burning it down. And he's just absolutely trying to stoke up some flames in Kobashi, trying to stir up some deep emotions in him. And so we finally get to Wrestle Kingdom. Kobashi still has rage about Rush. He still has rage about everything that Minoru Suzuki did to taunt him. And these two just have an absolutely brutal match all throughout. Just no care for safety whatsoever for themselves or the audience. Barricades are being broken. They're going out into the audience for extended periods of time, throwing drinks and food at each other. They're throwing each other through chairs and whatever. Suzuki bites off of Kermit's head because friggin' the New Japan custodians didn't bother friggin' getting rid of that shit from yesterday. Yeah, Zack Kermit. He friggin' bites his head off and spits it at people. Minoru Suzuki is crazy, man. And by the end, Kobashi finally has just had enough. He friggin' starts chopping the hell out of him. Suzuki's chest is gushing blood, which it should not be doing. And he hits him with a massive lariat, picks him up, hits him with a massive side suplex right onto Suzuki's head. Jim Cornette's like, "For God, the man's dead. He's out enough. Somebody stop the match." And Josh Burnett's like, "Somebody quiet this man, please. I've had enough of his shit." And Iron Sheik's like, "Jabroni!" And that's all he says nothing else. And Kobashi finally hits one more lariat. 1, 2, 3. He vanquishes Suzuki. He proves himself. And for us, a little bit, he's at least happy. Kobashi deserves to be happy. Next, we have the King of Pro Wrestling title on the line as Israel Adesanya takes on Will Osprey. Israel Adesanya obviously has been on top of pro wrestling for quite a while, and Will Ospreay's had enough of it. He says, "You want to call yourself the king, huh? Well, I'm an emperor, bitch." And so Israel Adesanya and Osprey just going back and forth. Osprey roasting the shit out of MMA and all sorts of just the I don't know, the UFC BS. Adesanya says you only do flips and shit. I'm gonna freaking break your leg, boy. And really, it's a very interesting meshing of styles here. Osprey, trying to stay away from Adesanya's grappling and his strong strikes, just flipping and doing whatever, flying everywhere. Adesanya's trying to ground him, trying to break his legs, his arms, so he can't do flips and stuff. And Jim Cornette, for once, is on Adesanya's side because he hates flips and shit. He hates Osprey. He wants him to die. And eventually, Osprey, too much damage has been done to his limbs. He can't. He tries to hit the Os cutter, and he just eats shit. He freaking flies out of the ring, lands head first on the outside. Everyone's pretty sure he's dead or something. And Sesame Street immediately pulls his sponsorship. Like, no, we ain't sponsoring this. Your man just died out here. Sorry, bye. And Adesanya takes advantage. He locks in a nasty Boston Crab and forces Osprey to tap out. And he remains the king of pro wrestling to the dismay of everybody. But it's freaking Israel Adesanya. Next tag titles are on the line is Bushi and Tanahashi take on Kenta and Wyatt. This was the match that Kenta and Wyatt earned from their Super Tag League victory back in December or November. Pretty interesting match here. Not a lot of tension between the teams. They don't really have a lot against each other. They just want to have a nice little match here, though Kenta and Wyatt are being very brutal as the heels they are. They get some interference help from the rest of Bullet Club, who weren't able to win the night before. But ultimately, Ibushi and Tanahashi, their experience, their chemistry overall succeeds over anything else. And they hit the Kamigoye High Fly Flow combo on Jay White, and they get the victory. Afterwards, Wyatt and Kenta confront each other. White's blaming him for not breaking up the pin. Kenta's blaming him for not kicking out. And it's clear that these two are not on the best of terms. We're going to have to wait and see how that goes. Next up, Kazushika Okada comes out and he's like, "Hey, I beat Great Muda, guys. Please love me again. I love your God. Yeah, I'm the Rainmaker. I make rain. Yeah, woo, Rainmaker. Yay." And Katsura Shibata comes out and the crowd freaking loses their goddamn minds and is like, nobody cares. Little boy, shut up. Also, you kind of put me on the shelf for a while. So I'm here to shut your mouth, unlike the freaking Fiend knockoff that you kicked his shit in yesterday. And Okada's like, "Yeah, but I'm the Rainmaker. Nobody beats the Rainmaker. Everybody loves me." And everybody boos the hell out of him. And Jim Cornette friggin' throws a drink at him. People do not like Okada now. He's like, "But Rainmaker, right?" And then Shibata hits him in the balls. And the match immediately starts. And Shibata just absolutely kills Okada. Okada came out there with bandages and whatever. He was trying to get the sympathy factor, but he just made himself look like a friggin' target. And Shibata beats him in like 5 minutes. Everybody loves him. And Okada just gets booed out of the building. And Shibata is welcomed back with open arms by the New Japan faithful. And finally, the most brutal match in wrestling history to date. ROH and Iwgp World titles on the line. Samoa Joe versus Walter in the main event of Wrestle Kingdom Day 2. Words cannot describe the absolute brutality of this match. Chops galore. These two are lifting each other up and doing crazy moves out of the building. But not out of the building, though out of the building would be pretty freaking sick. Maybe Joe throws Walter off a balcony 50 feet below or something. These two just want to kill each other. Over a Kermit doll, apparently. And Samoa Joe and Walter, they're trading sleeper holds. They're both their signature moves, and they keep countering each other. It's really the world's greatest game of chess. They go like 1 hour because just neither of them can put the other down for more than 3 seconds. And ultimately, it takes the ultimate holy shit move to put the match to a close as Joe tries to hit the muscle buster, but Walter, with his sheer power, he picks him up and it's a massive power bomb, and they go through the ring, Taz Bam Bam Bigelow style. The crowd's like, "Oh my God, they went through the ring! I can't believe it!" And yeah, because that's exactly how Japanese people sound or something. I don't know. I haven't been outside in a while. And in the end, Walter drags Joe's carcass out of the hole in the ring, pins him. 1, 2, 3. Walter is the new combined ROH and IWGP heavyweight champions, and he has vanquished Samoa Joe once and for all. He is the God King. He is the freaking greatest wrestler in history, and New Japan has its new ace, if you'd like to call it that. He is now on top. And that is the conclusion of Wrestle Kingdom Day 2, and that is the conclusion of Wrestle Kingdom 18. I'm going to drink a lot of water now, guys.
That was like a long-ass novel, but that was a great storytelling.
Yeah.
I haven't done that in a while, but yeah, it feels good. It feels real good.
Are you guys ready? Now it's time for the main event storytelling, brought to you by Monday Night Raw.
Yes.
Oh boy.
All right. After a night after RK Bro has to go defend their tag team titles against Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz in a tag team match on Monday Night Raw, RK Bro looks like they're going to be on fire for this match. Then it looks like something gets knocked over as Riddle gets distracted, as Riddle tries to be Randy Orton, trying to prepare an RKO and all that. It tries to aim it on Commander Aziz, but Commander Aziz gets out of it. Then he pushes Riddle and knocks Orton down. Then Commander Aziz and Apollo Crews. 1, 2, 3. We have new Raw Tag Team Champions as Commander Aziz and Apollo Crews win the Raw Tag Team titles. Then Apollo Crews gets the microphone and says, "Well, look at that. We and Commander Aziz are the new Raw Tag Team Champions. You see? You all didn't believe on me. Oh, my Commander Aziz. So, we're going to show them that this Raw Tag division is trash. We've defeated the biggest joke on Raw, RK Bro. So, as we will now be carrying this useless tag division, we're going to bring these titles to where they belong because I did it for my country, Nigeria. Now, for anyone, you are losers. I proved you're wrong. Now, you all can suck it up and cry about it that me and Commander Aziz are forever going to be the Raw Tag Team Champions. And then this music hits. My name is Enzo Amore, and I am a certified G and a modified son. And you can't teach that. And this right here, this is Big Cat, and he's 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that. Bada boom, what the real ones in the room, we're back. How you doing?
How you doing?
Well, look at this. It looks like that we got. So I'll commute now. All right. Let me get back to what I was doing. All right. It looks like that me and Big Cass, what looks like we had to get ourselves back in the game, even though we got a phone call saying that we got offered to return. Guess what? We may have had our darkest moments, but we're back, and we're going to bring looks like that we've got a Ninja Turtle hired by freaking Bigfoot. When did you ever think you'd hire Bigfoot on Monday Night Raw? Just know, even though you guys may be the new Raw Tag Team Champions, just know that with both of you, Big Cass is going to get that big boot and drive it up your jaw, right down your throat. And know that you two have got 0 dimes. But as now, instead of waiting, it looks like that Cass and I are ready to serve it up as we would be cooking up breakfast in the morning. So, Cass, what do you got to say for him? Well, if you say that, Enzo, we're going to be next in line to take those Raw Tag Team titles, even though it was 4 years, because we were robbed at WrestleMania 33. Even though Apollo and Commander Aziz, if you gonna whine and cry and bitch that we're next to be in line, then there's only one word to describe you, and I'm gonna spell it out for you.
S-A-W-F-T. Soft.
Weeks later, as Alpha Academy are gonna say, man, Otis, can you just see that? How can you believe that Enzo and Cass would just return and just show up out of their minds and think that they got the chance to become the Raw Tag Team Champions, even though, Otis, I've trained you and worked with you, and we've climbed up to the ladder to get our Raw Tag Team Championship opportunities, but they just want to ruin it all for us. Why can't we just find them and beat them so that way they can't get their shot? So, what do we see? AJ, how are we going to book this? If Alpha Academy want the shot, Enzo and Cass want the shot, the tag division's dying. We got to do something. So let's do Enzo and Cass versus Alpha Academy. The winner gets a shot at Apollo and Commander Aziz at WrestleMania. Otis, you can come in. Otis, how does that sound for you? Not good. Well, what do you want me to do for you? So, what happens now? It looks like that Otis is in the back talking, and it looks like that Enzo is back by himself. Then Alpha Academy beats the shit out of Enzo in the locker room. Then Big Cass looks like he has to fight them, Alpha Academy, in a handicap match, which ended in no contest. Then moving on, as the build-up to WrestleMania goes, we see next week that Enzo will go one-on-one with Otis in a squash match, as Enzo Amore defeated Otis in a winning contest. Going weeks forward, it looks like that we had to make the decision. Well, it looks like for me that Enzo and Cass, I know you guys have came back, and I know you guys want the tag team title shot so badly at WrestleMania. So, I know we've seen a lot of feuds brawl going around the time, but I know we got to do something. Chad Gable comes and says, what do you think we can do? Me and Otis to be the guys that are supposed to be getting those Raw Tag Team titles. What do you think we should do? And then Chad Gable comes into the ring. God, my stupid camera. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have it fair and square. Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz, you guys will be defending your tag team titles against Alpha Academy and Enzo and Cass in a triple threat tag team match. So WrestleMania, Chad Gable saying, everyone loves us, Otis. Can you believe it? Everyone owes us. All the fans across AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Texas keep booing Alpha Academy in the ring as Otis comes into the ring like, Then Enzo and Cass, every fan knew every word. Every fan knew it as Enzo and Cass make their way to the ring. Then it looks like Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz make their way to the ring. Then Apollo Crews, Commander Aziz, and Otis go one-on-one. As a lot of spots gone through the chemistry of the match. There goes a Big Cass throwing Enzo on top of all the contestants. Apollo Crews goes for a standing moonsault on the Chad Gable. Otis and Gable do a lot of double attacks on Cass. Then it looks like that Apollo Crews does a flying jump off the top rope on to Big Cass. Then Chad Gable with the vertical German suplex onto Enzo onto the top rope. A lot of spots go. Then it looks like that Otis tries to power bomb, but when they are trying to double suplex Commanders, as it looked like Enzo and Cass were trying to double suplex Commander Aziz, as Otis was able to grab a power bomb. Then Chad Gable tries to throw a line to Otis. Chad Gable misses, falls out of the ring. Then it looks like that Apollo Crews gets knocked out after Big Cass throws Apollo over the ring, over the barricade after a huge throw, and it looks like Apollo Crews was out of it. Then it looks like then Chad Gable hits onto the bad ACL of Big Cass. Big Cass was unable to continue. Then Enzo does an arm wringer, gets the boot to the face onto Chad Gable, knocks him out. 1, 2, 3. New Raw Tag Team Champions, Enzo and Cass. Next up, next feud. AJ, as I am disappointed the way AJ has been booking Raw lately. AJ, why are you booking Raw like this? Well, Wyatt, I'm trying everything I can do to make this Raw rating improve. We're trying to build talent. We're trying to build stars. AJ, you're not doing a good job doing this. So, what do you think I'm gonna do? So, AJ, we're gonna have a bet here. If you get to pick a guy, I pick a guy. If my guy wins, I get to choose your upcoming opponent. AJ got to choose Damian Priest. I chose Shelton Benjamin. So what happens? It looks like for me, I have a dirty move as I got to use a steel pole whacked as the ref was distracted. I threw a pole into the ring, punched Damian Priest with the freaking rings, knocks him out. Shelton Benjamin delivers pay dirt. 1, 2, 3, and it looks like it's over. AJ, I got some bad news for you.
Oh, what is it?
I got some bad news. It looks like for me, I have to choose your opponents.
Oh, shit.
AJ, all I'm going to say is I brought this guy to Raw to challenge you. Hit his music.
Fuck you, man. Why does this man again?
AJ. Good evening, Mr. Goldberg. Give me that mic. AJ, you're next.
How about your next, old bird?
You know what? Get the fuck out of here. All right. Next up, as it looks like it's going to be a match of the ages. And it looks like at Elimination Chamber, we're going to have the match we wanted. It is going to be AJ versus Goldberg at the Chamber, as I am going to be ringside being the bell keeper. The match rings. Spear by Goldberg onto AJ. AJ gets knocked down. One more spear. It looks like Goldberg's trying to get himself back up for a spear. Watch out. AJ ducks out. Goldberg gets hit onto the steel pole. AJ's getting ready. AJ's going to get ready for the Black Widow as he's trying to idolize his own clone. AJ Lee trying to pull in the Black Widow. Goldberg still trying to hand into it. Goldberg slips over. Goldberg, third spear. Goldberg aims the jackhammer. 1, 2, 3. And Goldberg looks like he carries the win. And what happens? Seth Rollins comes after the match. Curb stomps Goldberg. And Seth Rollins decides to save AJ. And he curb stomps AJ too. Seth Rollins with another curb stomp to Goldberg. Seth Rollins coming to the ring saying, "You thought I went missing, huh? Even though you eliminated me in the Royal Rumble this year, Goldberg, you know I was never going to forget about that. You know I was going to find a sneak way in this. That's why, Goldberg, anytime I see you, I'm going to kick your ass." Then Seth Rollins comes on Monday Night Raw, bitching and bragging about how much he hates Goldberg's guts. Seth Rollins decides for this. Seth Rollins says to the fans in his hooded clothing, saying, "Even though I've got the drip all over that gear, even though I look way better, and I know I'm way charismatic than anybody I know on this roster, that's why at WrestleMania, I don't care what anybody thinks this. I want to challenge Goldberg at WrestleMania. I don't even care if he knows 3 moves, or if he's 54, or even if he doesn't know how to spell the alphabet backwards. Even if he's never learned sex education in health class, I want to challenge Goldberg at WrestleMania." You know what, Seth? That is a great mind in mine. So I say to myself, you know what, Seth? Your match is accepted. Goldberg will fight you at WrestleMania. So Goldberg comes into the hard camp. Goldberg comes in VIA satellite, says, "Well, Seth, I heard you've been saying some stuff about me, huh? You know I'm always in for a fight. That's why I'm still here kicking ass. That's why, Seth, you're on at WrestleMania. That's why next week, we're going to make it official to have a contract signing here on Monday Night Raw." Well, what happens? We have the contract signing after them two roast each other on the microphone, cutting epic promos. Seth Rollins whacks Goldberg's head onto the table. Seth delivers a curb stomp on the Goldberg. And Seth says to himself, "Be ready, Goldberg, because after I break your face, you won't have a career after WrestleMania." The match happens at WrestleMania. Seth Rollins, as the fans chant, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa," and Goldberg comes out. Goldberg comes out with Seth Rollins. Them two battle in the AT&T Stadium as Goldberg tries to aim for a spear. Seth Rollins jumps over Goldberg. Seth Rollins aims for a super kick on the Goldberg. Curb stomp. Kick out at 1. Them two continue the match. As them two continue the match, sorry about that. So, as them two continue the match, as Seth Rollins and Goldberg. Hold on. Guys, can we put it on hold?
Well,
what the hell just happened?
so a little promotion here. The next Moshcast we'll be doing More by Lorna Shore. At the time of recording, it's after this.
Yes.
We also reached a 2-hour mark here.
Oh, shit.
Almost about.
Shit.
While Wyatt is
fixing his camera issues.
On hold here.
Please.
It looks like he's back.
Make sure you go check out the first episode of City Manager Analysis if you haven't done it.
Make sure to
As-
check out the YouTube and Twitch channels.
All right, back to the match. As Seth
Back here.
Rollins looks like he's going to try the curb stomp. It gets out. Goldberg throws out Rollins to the ring. Goldberg runs around the ring. Spears Seth Rollins. Goldberg tries to go. Spear through the barricade. Goldberg throws back Seth Rollins into the ring. Tries to aim for a spear. Seth Rollins kicks out at the 2 count. Goldberg's going to try to aim for a jackhammer. Seth Rollins hits the knee on the Goldberg. Then Seth Rollins super kicks Goldberg to the stomach. Goes for a curb stomp. Then goes for 2 curb stomps. Goldberg kicks out again. Goes for another curb stomp. Goldberg dodges it for a spear. Goldberg hits the jackhammer. 1, 2, 3, and Goldberg defeats Seth Rollins. As of the night after the Royal Rumble, we will find out to see who will be the newest person to be signed to Monday Night Raw, as Braun Breaker will be in the ring with a bunch of luchadors in a battle royal the night after the Royal Rumble, after a huge victory after a SmackDown superstar has won the Royal Rumble. So Braun Breaker has a match with all these luchadors from the international wrestling. So Braun Breaker wins the battle royal. It looks like the final 3 are Braun Breaker and 2 other luchadors. Braun Breaker looks like he's going to dominate. Braun Breaker decides to dominate the entire match. Braun Breaker carries up the win. And Braun Breaker looks like that he just decided to become having a Raw contract. As Braun Breaker decides that he was going to have a Raw contract to agree. Then what's this? United States champion comes out, The Miz. And The Miz comes to Braun Breaker and says, well, it looks like that we have a second-generation superstar in the ring in front of the most must-see WWE superstar in history. You got it. It looks like for me and you, it looks like a dream for you to go against someone who's going to be better than you and someone who is more of a star than you. So, Braun Breaker, what do you think you're going to do on this roster? Dominate everything or try to be a wannabe of your own dad? Enjoy me next week on Miz TV. So, the Miz and Maurice decide to come out and do a Miz TV episode with Braun Breaker doing the interview. So, Braun Breaker and the Miz have a huge epic promo, and the Miz says, you know what, Braun Breaker? You have huge so many. You have picked up a lot of wins late. You know, Braun Breaker, you're new to Raw. What do you think you got to say for yourself? First of all, I don't like you. I am tired of you thinking that people should be jealous of you, because why should I be jealous of you over worthless clothing that should be sold in the dollar store instead of $3,000 tuxedos and $3,000 shoes, even though you should be messing with a muscle buffed guy like me. Yes, that must be sad to say, Braun. Even though you're not Braun Strowman, you can't decide for yourself that you can't use your last name because it's blacklisted in the WWE vocabulary, because you are nothing like your Uncle Scott Steiner and Rick Steiner. So that's why. How about this? You are messing with the It couple. Me and my beautiful wife, Maurice. Showing for yourself. I never see anything in you. You are a worthless coward, Braun Breaker. You are a worthless coward. Braun Breaker decides to beat the shit out of Miz, and then a bunch of security guards, as Miz hired, were to lay down Braun Breaker to the ring, as Braun Breaker wants to use his bare hands as much as he wants to beat the shit out of the Miz. But the Miz decides to hold that United States Championship up in the air, and the Miz decides to cut a promo 1 week later to Braun Breaker saying, you know, do you really want this juicy title with the American flag on it? Is this what you want, Braun Breaker? You ain't having it, because you're too dangerous for me. So, Braun Breaker gets to have a match later that night on Monday Night Raw against Otis. Oh, I'm sorry. Braun Breaker gets to have a match on Raw against Elias. So, Braun Breaker comes out at the main event of Monday Night Raw against Elias. Braun Breaker continues, almost picks up the win. Miz attacks him with the microphone, whacks on the Braun Breaker, puts him up for a skull-crushing finale, lays him down onto the ground. And Miz says, "You never expected me to ever show up for you. Just know that I can come from a blink of an eye. And know that for me, just know that I have the balls to come out here because you don't have the balls to come out here and kick my ass because I'm the Miz and I'm awesome." Yep. Then the Miz has a match later that night against R-Truth. The Miz decides to pull up to the skull-crushing finale. Challenge for the skull-crushing finale. Braun Breaker decides to beat up the Miz. Braun Breaker comes out again saying, "You know what? People who want to challenge me, I don't give a damn about who challenges me. But just know, Miz, the man I want to challenge the most is you. Knowing how much we've had a disappointing rivalry this all needs to come to a conclusion at WrestleMania." So, Miz comes back and says, "You know what, Braun Breaker? You really want me at WrestleMania? You damn right got it." Here we are at the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania, as the Miz and Braun Breaker are going to have a match for the ages, as them two get to put up to a collar elbow tie-up. As Braun Breaker does a huge throws, the Miz does his clothesline into the corner. Miz looks like it's going to be in for an all, slaps out of the ring. Then the Miz accidentally knocks down Maurice. Braun Breaker goes for a suplex. Maurice looks knocked down. Then Braun Breaker with an amazing comeback to the move. Then it looks like the Miz is going to aim for the skull-crushing finale. 1, 2. Braun Breaker kicks out. Then Miz throws out Braun Breaker. They brawl outside the ring. 10 count aim. Miz gets back into the ring. 9 count goes for Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker comes in back into the ring. Braun Breaker decides to put on finish, but fails. Miz kicks out of it continuously. Braun Breaker and Miz continuously brawl out for the ring until Braun Breaker had blood dripping all over his face. Can this man continue for all his might? Then the Miz goes for a skull-crushing finale. Braun Breaker goes for a power slam. 1, 2, 3, and new United States champion, Braun Breaker. Now it's time. Now another feud we've been waiting for. It looks like after a huge stretcher match, an ambulance match happens on Monday Night Raw as Kevin Owens and as Matt Hardy and Seth Rollins are going to be brawling out for them here. After them two have had such a violent and hateful rivalry, Seth Rollins and Matt Hardy look like they're going to have it to an end on an episode of Raw before the Royal Rumble starts. Kevin Owens decides to come out as Matt Hardy tries to go, as Seth Rollins looks like he's about to put Matt Hardy into the ambulance. Then Kevin Owens decides to shock the WWE Universe as super kicks Matt Hardy, and Seth Rollins carries the win after throwing Matt Hardy into the ambulance. Matt Hardy comes out a week later on VIA. It's Kevin Owens saying, "What? Y'all didn't think I was going to do that? Whoever thought that I was going to come out and just show up knowing the fact that I was just going to come out and just attack Matt Hardy? Just know, I never really liked Matt Hardy, but guess what? Matt Hardy had to cut his balls off to know the fact that I want to have all my hands and might on him after everything I've costed him. No, Owens, you may be saying I cut my balls off. Just know that our fight ain't over yet. I may not have the deletion, but just know we might have a continuous rule, as Matt Hardy and Kevin Owens had a huge rivalry building up to the grandest stage of them all. WrestleMania is the week before Matt Hardy decides to say this. Owens, we may have had it, but it's definitely going to go down at WrestleMania. Me and you will go one-on-one in a Dallas street fight. Matt Hardy and Kevin Owens. Matt Hardy comes out as Matt Hardy version 1. As Extreme Matt Hardy for type. The computer decides the process. Matt Hardy's entire family comes out for WrestleMania. I'm about to lose my voice. But yeah, Matt Hardy and Kevin Owens decide to come out for a brawl at WrestleMania. Going through a table, shot with the steel chair. Looks like Kevin Owens decides to light the table on fire. Then both go through the table. Then it looks like they were unable to continue as Kevin Owens uses barbed wire, rubbing a bat on the Matt Hardy's face as Matt Hardy continues to bleed. The crowd's literally cheering it on, cheering. Huge wave of a loud crowd all over the stadium. And it looked like that way it ended as Matt Hardy decides to use a side effect off the ladder through the announce table. And after another move, as Kevin Owens whacks the bat onto Matt Hardy, then Matt Hardy decides to pull out a chainsaw. Then it looks, the referee saying, "Stop it, Matt! Too violent of an object! You can't use that in the middle of the ring!" Then Matt Hardy drops the chainsaw. Kevin Owens kicks Matt Hardy into the balls. Pop-up powerbomb. 1, 2. Matt Hardy kicks out of it. Matt Hardy decides to kick out of it as we continue the brawl. Matt Hardy and Kevin Owens gonna have it for a blink of an eye here. Then after a shocking appearance, it looks like then the lights go out. It looks like all the Hardy family decides to come out and distract Kevin Owens. And Matt Hardy reverses it, punches for Kevin Owens to the face, twist of fate. 1, 2. Kevin Owens kicked out. Kevin Owens kicks out. Then Matt Hardy and Kevin Owens decide to continue the brawl as both blood are knocking down the man's face. The commentary team freaks out, saying, "God damn it! Them two have got to be dead! Them two have got to be done for! Please end the match!" Fans are crying out of their eyes as AJ Anzalone comes out with a steel chair, whacks the shot, tries to get Owens there, shocks the chair onto Matt Hardy. Kevin Owens, 1, 2, 3, and Kevin Owens picks up the win. AJ shocks.
Yes.
Okay, let me get to my next story. Is Nick okay there?
Yep, he's good.
He's good.
Hold on. Oh my god! All right, next up, you know what? I think I got enough battery to complete this. All right, back to where I was continuing. Here on an episode, it looks like after Liv Morgan makes a huge victory over Becky Lynch and fires her ass as Becky Lynch decides to get traded to SmackDown. Liv Morgan decides to win. Liv Morgan is crownedly the new Raw Women's Champion after defeating Becky Lynch at day 1. Liv Morgan decides to say her speech saying, "I've worked for this opportunity. All these fans were behind me, knowing the moment I deserved, and knowing even though 2 of my best friends may not be in the company anymore, I did it on my own for them, for my family, and for all you fans, knowing that for myself, I finally figured for who I truly am, and I am going to be showing and carrying this business and this promotion and this brand to where it belongs. Then then it looks like Carmella comes out saying, "Oh, Liv, you're saying to yourself that you're going to be the woman to be walking out. Oh, honey, I am the most beautiful woman in the WWE." And the fans boo the shit out of Carmella, knowing that she had her time. And Carmella says, "You know what, Liv? If you want to really know the fact that I've beaten you numerous times, why can't I be the woman going to the Royal Rumble and challenging you for that Raw Women's Championship?" He says, "Oh, Mella, you've had your time when you cashed in on Charlotte Flair in 2018. You could blah, blah, blah your mouth thinking you're most beautiful. Then why the heck do you want to wear a mask in the ring that makes no sense to protect your beautiful face? Because your face isn't even damaged even if you don't have your mask on or what?" But at the Royal Rumble, Queen Zelina's music hits. Queen Zelina says, "All hail your queen, Zelina." Knowing, Mella, you could shut it for a minute, even though we've retired the women's tag titles. I can't say that I can shut you up because I won the Queen's Crown tournament and winning the first ever Queen of the Ring tournament. I should be getting the respect I deserve, knowing that I'm the woman that, because all of y'all are sleeping out of your minds, knowing that I'm the woman who deserves the Raw Women's Championship. You know what? And Liv Morgan says to herself, "You know what? Why not I challenge both?" And Bianca Belair comes out, spinning her brain, comes out saying, "Oh, girls, why can't you think that even though I may have been squashed by Becky Lynch at SummerSlam, knowing you two could brag, knowing you thought you deserved it, me and Liv have a dream match for that championship. I know that I defeat Sasha Banks at the second ever women's main event of WrestleMania. I'm the bestest, fastest, quickest, greatest women in the WWE." As me and AJ come out and say, "You know what? AJ, you're going to book something shitty. You know what we're going to do? We're going to have a triple threat match tonight to see who's going to win the Raw Women's Champion. Who's going to get a shot with Liv Morgan for the title." So what happens? Queen Zelina wins the triple threat match after a dirty move, whacking her crown, pinning the top tip of her crown on Bianca Belair's eye. So what happens? We're gonna have the match at the Royal Rumble. Liv Morgan takes the retain. We build up to Mania as we call up Toxic Attraction. As Toxic Attraction looks like they're going to make their way to Monday Night Raw, Mandy Rose says to herself, "Man, Liv, and you looks like you're the Raw Women's Champion. Even though I brought my girls, Gigi, Dylan, and JC Jane, we look like we're ready to squash this Monday Night Raw Women's division, so that way we can rub that pretty face out of you, and it looks like that we can whack an apple pie right through your face." So, what do we see? As Toxic Attraction after Bianca Belair makes a successful victory over, let's see, as Bianca Belair had a huge match against Lacey Evans on Monday Night Raw. After Bianca Belair hits a victory, Toxic Attraction decides to beat the living shit out of Bianca Belair and Lacey Evans out of the ring. Even a match when Queen Carmella took on Rhea Ripley later that night, same shit happens. You know what? Liv Morgan decides to herself, "You know what? I'll have it. You know what, Toxic Attraction? You two may have it, but no, I might put my match. I'll put my title against any one of y'all sooner enough." And I said to myself, "Liv, you have put your title on too early in Toxic Attraction. Let them get the taste of what the Raw Women's division is all about. Because them women have been called up too early, even though Mandy Rose may be back. You know what? Mandy Rose will be putting herself in a 6-women tag team match against her former partner, Dana Brooke, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair. And if Toxic Attraction wins in a 6-woman tornado tag team match, Mandy Rose will be challenging you at WrestleMania, the match that you want. At Elimination Chamber, the match goes on. As all women continue to brutalize each other, as Mandy Rose decides to make Dana Brooke ended up having blood all over the side of her face, Toxic Attraction picks up the victory. And then it looks like to herself that that in the black of the locker room, after Mandy Rose picks up a huge victory, Mandy Rose packs by her ex Otis, says, "Man, Otis, you look darn different. We know that we're now on the dark side, aren't we, Otis?" "Yeah." "Stand back, citizens. You know the Hurricane has finally made a rival. You know, you two used to be so fun, entertaining. Otis used to be your common name, but now you turn serious after a little first grader. But Mandy Rose, you decided to turn your hair dark. But you decided to go back to the minors, to the majors. What's up with that?" So, it looks then Mandy Rose decides to do this to the Hurricane. Slaps him across the face. Then we decide to have a mixed tag team match as Liv Morgan and the Hurricane will be taking on Otis and Mandy Rose. Then Otis and Mandy Rose decide to pick up the victory over there. Then it's all at WrestleMania as Liv Morgan defeats Gigi Dillon and JC Jane the following weeks as they're banned from ringside. Liv Morgan takes on Mandy Rose as the Showcase of Immortals at Dallas, Texas. Liv Morgan and Mandy Rose have a fallout brawl until there was one woman standing as Mandy Rose hits the Angel's Wings. As Liv Morgan gets out of it, Liv Morgan hits the Oblivion. 1, 2. Oh, Mandy Rose kicks out. Mandy Rose kicks out here. Then it goes off for the ages as Mandy Rose pulls off the top turnbuckle, pushes Liv Morgan, knocks her eye out. Angel's Wing on to Liv. 1, 2, 3, and new Raw Women's Champion, Mandy Rose. Next up will be the feud of Randy as after Big E makes a huge victory over Seth Rollins at the Royal Rumble. Big E decides that he has to put his title on the line inside the Elimination Chamber after taking on AJ Styles, Edge, Austin Theory, Randy Orton, and Seth Rollins. It was AJ Styles, Big E, Edge, Austin Theory, Randy Orton, and Seth Rollins in the Elimination Chamber match. After Big E, after had an embarrassing loss, after Omos tries to rip himself in the chamber match, Big E knocks Omos down. Then AJ Styles hits the phenomenal forearm, gets Big E out of the Elimination Chamber. Then AJ Styles is new WWE Champion. After that, it looks like Big E, and then Brock Lesnar music hits. We did not expect this man to be here at Elimination Chamber. Comes in, whacks Omos onto the steel, F5's AJ Styles, and Big E knocks them both out. Then Big E says, then the following night on Raw, Big E says to himself, "Man, did you see that? Brock Lesnar attacked me last night, even though I had a precious reign of the WWE Championship. But just know, I'm ready for the toughest match in my career, and that's why I want a piece of Brock Lesnar." So Brock Lesnar comes out, German suplexes Big E, attacks Big E, F5's Big E as Big E is knocked out cold. After me and AJ have to go into the back and make this official and say, "Big E, we are not safe to put you in the ring with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is just too dominant for you. We know you're a former WWE champion, but Big E, you're not good enough for Brock Lesnar." "Well, what do you got? You gotta put me against Brock Lesnar somehow. You gotta put me against him. I want it at WrestleMania." So you know what, Big E? We'll have you in a match against AJ and Omos in a handicap match to prove it. Big E picks up the win. We'll put you against Otis and Gable. Big E puts up the win. Then Brock Lesnar decides to attack Big E, whacks him, throws him across the poles, whacks him with the what are those things called? Then Brock Lesnar, not these things. Brock Lesnar whacks Big E onto one of these things.
Oh yeah, the backstage things.
The backstage things. They match a battle.
Equipment
Big
box.
E gets out of the pain. Big E gets out of the pain, attacks Brock Lesnar. Lesnar's face bleeds as the whole locker room has to break them up until we have one man we're going to see victorious at WrestleMania. Brock Lesnar comes out the week later and said, man, you just see that you're going to have me, Big E? Well, Big E, I'm going to fuck you up, motherfucker. And therefore, me and AJ make the decision and say, you know what? They're having the match. Fans want it. They want it. We'll make it happen. So, Big E and Brock Lesnar go out. As Brock Lesnar goes after Big E with a clothesline. German suplex. German suplex. German suplex. German suplex. Suplex repeat. 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 Big E doesn't look like he gets out of it. Tries to aim for three big endings. Just isn't enough for Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar tries to go for the F5. F5. 1, 2. Big E kicks out of it. Big E looks like he's still in for the fight. As Big E's going to try to get Brock Lesnar through the barricade. He does get him through the barricade. Big E gets Brock Lesnar back into the ring. Tries to aim for a big ending. Big ending gets it. 1, 2. Kicks out. Kicks out. Big E gets brought to get Brock Lesnar back into the game. But it looks like it's just not enough for Brock Lesnar. Then Big E tries to get Brock Lesnar. Both men have blood all over the ground here. Brock Lesnar puts him in a Kimura. Big E. Brock Lesnar with the win over Big E. Then Brock Lesnar decides to rip out. As Brock Lesnar gets to punch out, knocks out Big E out cold here. Brock Lesnar punches Big E. Big E's got blood all over his face. Commentary's going, oh my God, you're killing him, God damn it. You're about to kill this man. What are you doing? You're going to end his career. And and you know what? Brock, if you want that championship match against Roman Reigns later tonight, we'll give you it. Brock, if you want a future world title match, we'll give you what you want. Just leave him alone. Next up will be Randy Orton Riddle. After RK Bro had an embarrassing loss over Apollo Commander Aziz, which we talked about earlier, RK Bro gets a rematch with them, loses. Then Orton says, you know what, Riddle, I'm done with your fun and games. You know what, Riddle? I never liked you in the first place. Because you know what, Riddle? Because Riddle, I never needed you anyway. I only did this to make you better, and you just wanted to clown around and make you better. I tried to make you more serious, but Riddle, you just can't take it. Knowing how serious I am, and knowing how really true I am. So that's why, Riddle, we're done. RKO to Riddle. Orton turns on Riddle. So, Riddle says, Randy, why did you have to do that to me, bro? We could have went out on 420. I could have got you up because I would have been. Because knowing how high up on Raw, you could have told how high I was on Raw. Bro, Randy, I knew we were RK, bro. You know, we went out and got to have some drinks afterwards. We got to have the girls. You know, we got to check out boardwalks. We got to play arcade games. We got to eat ice cream at the fountain. You know, we got to order a pizza and go to Chuck E. Cheese and drink hot chocolate and, you know, bang up on Sesame Street. Bro, you know, my favorite Western movie is Old Toy Story 2. There's a snake in my boot. But, bro, you know, Randy, this really heartbreaks me. So, Randy Orton comes into the back of the locker room and decides to himself that he runs into Carmella. And Carmella runs into Carmella and Zelina says, bro, Zelina, I really think you really improved, girl. That's why for me and you, since you're the queen's crown, bro, that's why I'm the king of bros, bro. That's why we should go out tonight. Maybe if we want to go, I'll buy you a room, and maybe get a reserved hot tub spot, maybe get you something good, bro. Maybe we can go check out and maybe take a few sips at the bar, and maybe we can play some board games, or maybe do something cool at the play at the hotel arcade, or maybe I can try to know how much I want to put my hands back on Randy. Bro, we can do Riddle now. Why would I want to be a king of bros even though I'm a true queen? You have an imagination name. You know what, Riddle? You're so nice of a guy. Maybe we can do something after Raw. So then, Riddle and Zelina Vega going back to the locker room. Go back to the hotel as Zelina Vega prepares herself for Riddle. Where it's like, bro, are you thinking what I'm thinking for? Bro. Then Zelina Vega decides to take her almost gets all nice with Riddle until the end of the night. Zelina Vega decides she's about to pull a robe off, but until Chad Gable and Bobby Hill came into the ring and beat the shit out of Riddle, and Randy Orton comes back, attacks Riddle, saying, I'm done with your stupid shit. And then a week later, Randy Orton decides to come out. Then looks like Matt Riddle says, Carmella, bro, did you just see what Zelina did to me last week? She was about to pull her towel like she was going to be a karate star. So, you know what? I'm about to have a match up next. I'm supposed to take on that guy named Cedric Alexander. I'm supposed to take on Cedric Alexander. He fights like a ninja. So, Riddle goes against Cedric Alexander on a match on Raw. Riddle takes the victory. Randy Orton goes for an RKO, tries to attack Riddle. Randy Orton brutalizes Riddle outside the ring, whacks a steel chair on the Riddle. Then he goes for a DDT off the barricade. Randy Orton just shows that he's had enough of Riddle and knowing how much he's wanted to beat him up over all these months. And Randy Orton's just had the sick of the fun and games. That's why Randy Orton continues in. Then 1 week later, Randy Orton and R-Truth decide to have a match on Raw. As Randy Orton decides to make a choice after beating R-Truth, and then Riddle comes out with the chair, whacks it on Orton. Orton runs away, runs through the crowd. And Riddle says, bro, Randy, bro, we were like best friends. That's why, Randy, me and you are going to go one-on-one at WrestleMania. So what happens? Randy Orton decides to decline the offer as Randy Orton and Toxic Attraction had a mind on Monday Night Raw. As Randy Orton has a talk with Toxic Attraction, Randy Orton decides to have a match. Oh my God, I'm losing track. I look like I've been hanging out with Riddle. All right, let me get back to what I was talking about. All right. So as the build-up continues, as Randy Orton shows his violent true self, after Randy Orton has done a lot of violent attacks onto Rey and Dominic Mysterio, Shelton Benjamin, even, let's see, who was his goddamn name? Even Reggie, his own goddamn self. Randy Orton continues to brutalize the Raw roster as Randy Orton and Riddle were forced to be put in the match at WrestleMania over this. It all went down. Randy Orton and Riddle decided to continue for their match at WrestleMania when Randy when Riddle, after Randy Orton makes a huge defeat, after Riddle tries to aim for the bro Derek, Randy Orton gets out of it. Riddle jumps on the ropes. RKO. 1, 2, 3. It's over. Then, for the final moment we waited for, the final feud we're going to discuss here, it is going to be the Rated R Superstar Edge and AJ Styles. After AJ Styles makes the win at Elimination Chamber, after that chamber match was over, AJ Styles decides to say to himself, you know what? I'm the WWE champion around here. That's why Omos and I are going to carry Raw to where it belongs, even though I may not have a person who I might be challenging at WrestleMania. You think you know me? Edge comes out and says, well, I know that I was one of the last people out of the chamber match, but I want my hands on you so badly. I know I waited almost 10 years to get back to where I belonged. That's why I deserve the World Championship I never lost. Whoa, buddy. Whoa, buddy. That's a little too easy there. You know what? If you want to have me, try to go through Omos. So Edge decides to have a match against Omos on Raw. The match ends in a double count now. Not enough. Edge does everything he can to climb and sneak through waves so he can get the WWE Championship match he deserves. After that, Edge decides to interview AJ Styles on the cutting edge, saying, you know, I know you're the god of TNA, I was a god of WWE, but, you know, we came from different types of occasions. You know, you're a very skillful minded, and, I'm really passionate minded, you really want to earn the respect you want, but I usually gain the respect I deserve knowing how hard I've worked over the time. But AJ, when will you ever shut the hell up? And then AJ Styles, and then Omos choke slams Edge, knocked down, and Edge looks like he has to get taken out from the EMT. But it looks like it fast at the limit at WrestleMania. If Edge can win in a gauntlet match, Edge will get the match he deserves at WrestleMania. So, Edge makes a win over Bobby Lashley, makes a win over Austin Theory, makes a win over Damian Priest, goes against Omos. It all goes down. Edge continues his mic. Going for the final count. And it looks like that the security guards were backing up Omos so Edge can get that title shot that he wanted so badly. And he got it for his own will. And then Edge gets the title shot against AJ Styles. Edge and Styles continue for their might. After it goes down at WrestleMania, them two go for a collar elbow tie-up. AJ and Edge really tell their story at WrestleMania, knowing that they're two amazing veterans in the business. Edge and Styles continue as AJ tries to mock Edge a little bit. AJ goes for a phenomenal forearm a few times. Edge continues to stay in it. Edge for spears. Them two go for a brute-out battle. AJ shows that he thinks that he's a better competitor than Edge, that AJ deserves this win so much in his mind. AJ goes for an forearm. Spear. 1, 2, 3, and Edge is the new WWE Champion. Next up will be the final feud. And it looks like even though me and AJ ended up on bad terms here, AJ and I decide here that we're going to make our final decision as I developed my new faction with Veer Mahan, Bobby Lashley, Dolph Ziggler, and Robert Roode as we attacked AJ. Backstage, AJ was thrown against the general manager's office. AJ was like, "Don't hurt me, guys! Don't hurt me!" Then we decided to cut, and then me and the Killer Corporation continue to brutalize the Raw roster. After fans get so emotional, upset, the Raw roster looks like it's going to be put to an end. As me and the Killer, as MVP and I make an agreement saying, well, I'm very glad that damn proud that Bobby Lashley has been a damn good competitor. But we're going to show Bobby Lashley that he's Bobby Lashley. After Bobby Lashley squashes Big E in a match, we even have more matches as Ziggler, Robert Roode, and Veer Mahan decide to destroy the Raw roster after we've attacked Edge, Finn Balor, the Mysterios, R-Truth, The Miz, Apollo Crews, Chad Gable, and so many more, and Rat Riddle, and so many more superstars were just attacked, knowing that we are ready to kill it on the Raw roster. So John Cena decides to return and says, well, I know you guys have really shown yourselves, I know that Raw has gotten a little dry for a while, but I know I'm coming back here to make the fixes. I'm trying to put the drill in the screw, as I will make that screw turn in. That's why, for me, I'm ready to settle this whole Killer Corporation bullcrap, as I want my hands on all of y'all some point. So John Cena decides to have the match on Raw against Dolph Ziggler. Cena gets robbed after Ziggler hits a zigzag. Cena gets a match against Veer Mahan, which ended in no contest. So Cena has his flair and says, you know what? Killer Corporation, even though you're thinking you're bragging, thinking you're the greatest thing on Raw, looks like it's all about you all. You know what? We're going to have this settled at WrestleMania, because I will have my team take on your team. Even though you guys use so many chairs and whacking them other people. That's why we will have a no holds barred 8-man tag team match. That's why John Cena's partners were Rey Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio, and Finn Balor. So, 2 weeks before WrestleMania, Veer Mahan and Bobby Lashley beat the shit out of the Mysterios, as Rey Mysterio was thrown across on the stage. And Dominic Mysterio gets thrown off the cage, which got Dominic to be on a non-compete at WrestleMania. So therefore, Team Cena had to find a partner themselves. So it comes WrestleMania day. Rey Mysterio says, you know what, Killer Corporation? Ain't going to be no 3-on-4 handicap match, because we actually got a partner in mind that's going to settle this. So here comes their partner. Their partner comes out WrestleMania as everyone makes their entrance. None other than this guy.
Stolen, smuggled, 73.
Hold on.
Taco Bell's $5 cheesy gordita crunch cravings box. Built for every craving.
Yeah, Taco Bell.
What's up to one should I get Taco Bell?
As Triple H makes his arrival to WrestleMania, it all goes down as all the men are going through, brawling across the AT&T Stadium. Fans are screaming out of their lungs, and it continues. Bobby Lashley with a spear onto Finn Balor, and Rey Mysterio goes for 619. Triple H with some sick-ass punches. John Cena tries to aim the 5-knuckle shuffle on the Veer Mahan. 5-knuckle shuffle. So many weapons are being used into the match. Fans scream out their lungs, but until the final moment, as Triple H aims for as the final match, as we get to the end of the match here, it looks like Robert Roode hits a glorious DDT on the Finn Balor. Then Rey Mysterio goes for a 619 on the Robert Roode, 619 on the Dolph Ziggler. Then it looks like it wasn't enough. Big double clothesline Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio gets zigzagged. Rey Mysterio gets suplexed through the announce table. It all continues as Triple H continues to throw the punches onto all the members. Pedigree to Veer Mahan. Pedigree to Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler. Then it continues to brawl out here as we have our final, as Cena goes for an AA on the Veer Mahan. If Veer Mahan gets A8 out of the ring, Cena gets thrown out. If MVP whacks John Cena with the cane as John Cena was knocked out. Hurt Lock on the Triple H. Triple H faints, and the Killer Corporation makes their victory. And that shows that the Killer Corporation is unstoppable and unbeatable. The end.
Jesus Christ, that was long.
Now, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that ends off for today for the Crash and Burn Wrestling Podcast. Sorry it was a long episode, but subscribe to the Moshcast, subscribe to Cinematic Analysis. I'm gonna make this short. All right, do our outros. AJ, go before you fall asleep.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching another episode of the Crash and Fucking Burn Wrestling Podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed this long-ass episode. Please subscribe to the
Almost 3
Moshcast
hours.
and Cinematic Analysis. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And hopefully this makes you laugh. And have a good day, guys. See you later.
Josh.
Thank you guys for watching this long episode of Crash and Burn Wrestling Podcast Fantasy Booking. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel, tap the bell, subscribe to the Moshcast, tap the bell for that as well. Be sure to subscribe to Cinematic Analysis. Also tap the bell on all 3 of our podcasts so you never miss an episode. Yeah, I feel like my fucking brain is dead.
Yeah.
I feel like a fucking earthquake.
America.
Almost. I feel like an earthquake almost beat the shit out of me. But I felt like, I don't know, I'm completely lost brain-wise, but man, what a long episode. But thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. Remember, subscribe or else.
All right.
Jason.
Thanks for watching this, probably the longest episode ever on Crash and Burn, almost 3 hours. But we hope you all enjoyed regardless. Subscribe to Moshcast, Cinematic Analysis, which we recently did our first episode. Subscribe to here. If you sat through this almost 3-hour episode, comment down below if you watched till the end. We'd love to know if you actually did that. But
yeah,
regardless, stay tuned for more episodes.
Nick, end it off.
Oh, that was a long one, wasn't it? Thank you, everybody, for watching. Just glad to be back. And yeah, my voice is still recovering, even though I haven't spoken in probably an hour. But yeah, it's absolutely wonderful time. I absolutely love doing these booking episodes. I love doing podcasts in general. So I see this as a bright spot, but especially it's kind of shitty time, at least for me. So I'm glad that I got to do this, and I'm glad that I got to come back and be with some really awesome people and do it for some really awesome viewers back at home. So thank you for having me on again, and thank you everybody who's going to watch this for watching us and being dedicated to this channel, and to all of our channels. And stay safe and have a absolutely wonderful holiday season. I know a lot of you may be on break or probably going to go on break soon. So enjoy this. Take some time with family and whatever, and just have a great living. That's what I gotta say.
All right, everybody. Well, that's it for this episode. Almost 3 hours, but stay tuned for Instagram to check out the next episodes. All 3 podcasts. See you guys.
Crash and Burn!